Without further ado, I believe it's time now. We're past 11 o'clock, good to go. We're going to start here today with lot number one. Lot number one is this 1959 BMW R26. Beautifully restored, lovely little bike this one is. I'm going to go straight in at £2,000. At 2,000 we start. Say 2-2 if you're coming in. At 2,000's bid. At £2,000 we start here at 2,000. At 2,000, 2,000's bid. Say 2,002 if you're coming in. At £2,000 is the bid now at 2,000 with me on the book here. At £2,000, 2-2 you're in online. At 2,002, 2-4's my bid. At 2,004. At 2,400 bid with me here at 2,004. At 2004. At 2004 needs to see 2.6 if you're coming back in online. At 2,400 is bid. At 2,000, 2004, are we finished and done? Would you like to go for one more online? At £2,400, say 2.6 if you're coming in or anywhere else. I'd like to have a go on this one. The first lot of the day at 2004, 2.6 is back in. At 2006, my commission interest is out here. It's with you online at the minute. In Lancashire, at £2,600 is the bid. Say 2.7, we'll go in £100 if you want to be nice and quick. At 2006 is bid. Say 2.7 for one more. At 2,000, 2006. At 2006 is still with the online bidder at £2,600. Say 2.7 if you're coming in. Are we finished and done? We will submit the bid today. Make no mistake, at £2,600 is the bid. Last chance in fair warning then. It's online with you at the minute at 2,600 once, twice. Finished and done then at £2,600. Provisionally with you online 18257 I think that was. That is a provisional bid there at £2,600. Moving on, down the list we go. Lot number two is the 1958. It's the AJS there, the 16MS. Look at this, lovely little bike this one is. Where are we going to go on this one? I'm straight in at 2,002. At 2,200 we start. At 2,002. At 2,000, 2,002 is bid. Say 2.4 if you wish to come in on this one. At 2,000, 2,002. At 2,200 on the AJS here, 1958. At 2,002. At 2,000, 2,200 is the bid. Say 2.4 if you're coming in, online or anywhere else. At 2,200, are we finished? Are we done? At 2,000, 2002. At 2,200, the bid then once. At 2,000, 2,200, the bid then twice. All finished and done here at just £2,200. Make no mistake, finished and done at 2,200. 1063 on the commission, £2,200. That is a provisional bid. Moving down the list we go to lot number 3, 2005 in the year, Harley Davidson. It's the FXDBI. There we go, the Street Bob won this one there. Lovely, lovely Harley this is. Where are we going to go? Starting off, who's in and away? Start me off. Who's got £3,000? You in there with a bid? 3 coming in? Anyone interested at 3,000 start? 3's bid at the front. Thank you, sir. At £3,000 we start. We'll stay in the 200s. At 3,000's bid. Gentleman's bid. At 3,000, 3.2. At 3,200, 3.4. At 3,004, gentleman seated now at 3,004. At 3,400 is bid. 3.6 is back in online. 3.8 straight away. Thank you, sir. At 3,008. At 3,000, 3,800 with the gentleman seated down the front. At 3,008 and 4. At £4,000, Cheshire bidder, 4.2. At 4,002, back to the gentleman now. At 4,002, say 4.4 if you're coming back in online. At 4,004. At 4,006. At 4,006 we're bid. At 4,000, 4,006. 4.8's back in. 5,000 now. At £5,000. At 5,000, 5,000, 5,000. Say 2 for one more online if you're coming back in. At £5,000 we're with the gentleman in the front. At £5,000. At 5,000, 5,000, 5,000. I'll take the hundreds now, but I'm going to start counting it down. Gents, it's still you, sir. At £5,000 seated, 5.1. 5.2. 5.2 is bid. Gentleman's bid at 5,002. Say 5.3 if you wish to go again online. At 5,002. At 5,000, 5,200. Are we finished and done online? Last chance in fair warning. At 5,200, hammers up, and we're going to sell at 5,200 once. At 5,200 twice. And it sells this time at £5,200. Your bid, sir, at £5,200. And what was your paddle number there? 839. Thank you very much. 839, £5,200. Thanking you. Moving down we go, lot number 4 then. Lot number 4 is 2019. It's the CCM Spitfire, used in the Black Widow Marvel movie as well. I'm going to go straight in. Commission interest with me at 4, 4.2, 4.4, 4.6, 4.8, 5,000 we start. Say 5.2 if you're coming in. At £5,000 is bid. At 5,000, 5,000, 5,000, 200 for one more. At £5,000 is a bid on the book with me at just £5,000. Say 5.2 if you wish to go again. At £5,000. At 5,000, are we finished and done here then? At just £5,000, we will submit the bid, so make no mistake. At 5,000 once, twice, finished and done then at £5,000. That is with my provisional bid here, 3009, who left that one at £5,000. That is a provisional bid there. We'll try and get an answer back for you as soon as possible. Moving on to lot number 5 in today's sale, 1951. It's the BMW. It's the R67 combination there. The combination bike, this one is stunning example indeed. And we're going to go straight in at 3, 3.5, £4,000. At 4,000's bid. Say 4.5 if you want to come in. At 4,000's bid. At 4,000, 4,000, 4,000. At £4,000 is bid with me on the book here. At £4,000, say 4.5 if you wish to come in. At £4,000 is bid. At 4,000, 4,000, 4,000. Would anyone like to come in for another 5? At £4,000 is the bid here at 4,000. At 4,000, are we finished? Are we done? Last chance in fair warning this time and away then. At 4,000, once, twice, finished and done. 4.5, thank you, sir. At 4,005. I'm out, you're in at 4,005. Need to see 5,000 next if you're coming in. At 4,005. At 4,005, gentlemen seated here at 4,005. Would anyone else like to come in for one more? I'll count it down at 4,500 once, twice. Finished and done then. Gentleman's bid at £4,500. It's provisionally with you, sir, at 4,500, 682, 682, 4,500, provisional. Moving down the list, we go to lot number 6 in today's sale. 1928 is the year. It's this lovely BSA. It's the Model L28, lovely restored as well. Where are we going to go? Start me off. I'm in at £3,500. At £3,500 we start. At 3,005. At 3,005 is bid. Say 4,000 if you wish to come in. At 3,005. At 3,000, 3,005 is bid now at 3,005. Say 4,000 for one more. At 3,005, coming in for the 4. At 3,005, 4's bid. At £4,000. At 4,000, 4,000, 4,000. Say 500 again. I'll tell you what, I'll take 200s now. At 4,000 is the bid. At 4,000, 4,000, coming in for the 2. At 4,000, are we finished? At 4,000, are we done? Last chance in fair warning this time and away then. At £4,000 once for 2, new bidder. At 4,002, welcome to you in Cumbria. At 4,002, clears my book. At 4,002, you're in online. At 4,002, say 4.4 for one more. At 4,200, we're online with you at the minute. At 4,002. At 4,200, the bid then once. At 4,200, the bid then twice. All finished and done at £4,200. That is provisionally with you online, 20195, 20195. That is a provisional bid with you online at £4,200. Moving on, lot number 7. 1986 Moto Guzzi. It's the Le Mans edition as well. It's the 1000 SE. No reserve today. Must be sold, ladies and gentlemen. Who's got a couple of £100 to start me off, surely? 200's bid online. At 200's bid, we'll run in £100 on this one. Let's go 3. Anyone like to come in? No reserve, must go today on the Moto Guzzi. At £200 is bid. At £200 now, say 3 if you're coming in. At 300 bid, thanking you. Online bidder again, at £300. At 3 and 4, 400's bid. Cheshire bidder at the minute, at £400 is the bid now at 4. At 400, 400, would anyone like to go 5? At £400, are you finished and done? At 400 is the bid. At 400, 400, I'll tell you what, I'll take 450 if it helps you out, underbidder. Would you like the small bike? At £400, 450 you do, thanking you. At £450 is bid. At 450, 450 and 5. At £500, we'll stay in the 50s now. Won't go any lower on this one. At £500, would you like to go 50 for one more? 550 you do, thanking you. At £550 is bid. And 600 now. At 600 a bid now 6. At £600 is the bid now at 600, 600, 600. Would you like to come in for 50 again? 650 you do, thanking you online. At £650, the bid is with you at the minute. 700 it goes on. At £700 is bid. At 700, 700, 700. Would you like to see 50 for one more? At £700 is the bid now at 7. Are we finished and done? Online underbidder, would you like to come in for one more? Last chance in fair warning. I'll count you down. It must be sold today. At £700, the bid then once. At £700, the bid then twice. All finished, all done. And it goes this time and away at £700. Sold it at £700. Thank you, online bidder. You are bidder number 5105. 5105. Thanking you very much at £700. Moving down the list we go. Lot number 8. 1983. Moto Guzzi again. A 1000 SP this one. Where are we going to go on this one? Start me off somewhere. Who's got £1,000? £1,000 to start. Anyone interested at £1,000 to start me off today? 1,000 to go. Kick it off today here at £1,000. Can't go any lower. 1,000 your bid online. Thank you. We'll go 1,200 next. At £1,000 is bid. At £1,000 now. Say 1,200 if you wish to go again. At £1,000 we start. At 1,000, 1,000, 1,000. 1,200's bid. Nothing on my book on this one. It's all down to you online. 14's bid. At 1,400, 1,400. And 16 bid now at £1,600. There's a few of you online. 1,800. Thanking you, online bidder. At £1,800 you're in. At 1,800, 1,800. Would you like to see 2,000 next? At £1,800 are we finished and done with the online bid here? 1,800, 2,000's bid. At 2,000 now. At 2,000, 2,000, 2,000. Say 2,2 if you're coming back in. At £2,000 is the bid. We'll go 2,1 if it helps, no need. 2,2. We'll stay in the 200s now. At 2,002. At 2,000, 2,002. Say 2,4 if you're coming back in. At 2,002. Are we finished and done here at just 2,200? I'll tell you what, I'll take 2,3. If you're nice and quick underbidder, would you like one more 100? At 2,002. At 2,000, 2,200 the bid, then are we finished and done? It's your last chance in fair warning then. At 2,200 is the bid here then once. At 2,200 the bid then twice. All finished, all done with the online bid at £2,200. That is provisional, only just. We'll be in touch very shortly. 5105 again, that was, wasn't it? Yes, it was. Thank you very much online. £2,200. We are very close on that one, and we will be in touch with you very, very shortly online. Thanking you. Moving now on to lot number 9, a 1978 Moto Morini. The Moto Morini here. Look at this one. Lovely little bike this is. It's the 500 SEI. There we go. Starting off, I'm straight in at £1,000. Say 1,200 next. At 1,000's bid. At £1,000. Say 1,200 if you're coming in. 1,200's bid. 1,400 back to me. At 1,400 bid. At 1,400, 1,400. Need to see 16 if you're coming back in online. At 1,400 is the bid now at 1,400. At 1,400, 1,400. 16's bid. 18 back to me. At £1,800. At 1,800, 1,800. At 1,800, 1,802 is that bid. 2,000 you're in now online, and I'm out at £2,000. At 2,000's bid, with you online, at £2,000. Say 2,2 if anyone else wishes to come in now. At 2,000 is bid. At 2,000, 2,000, 2,000. At £2,000 is the bid now at 2,000. Would you like another 2? At £2,000 is bid. I'll tell you what, I'll take 2,1. Would you like £100? At 2,000 is the bid. At 2,000, 2,000 currently with you online bidder. At £2,000, say 2,1 for one more. At £2,000 is the bid now at 2,000. Are we finished and done then? We'll count you down. At £2,000 the bid then once, twice, finished and done then with you online at £2,000. That is provisionally with you online at 1047 for £2,000. That is a provisional bid. Moving down the list we go. Lot number 10, 1986. It's the Yamaha, and it's the first one today. We're going to go over to Mr. Steve Berry.
Oh, yes, indeed, Tom. You won't see too many 40-year-olds that look as good as this one. 1980, or sound as good as this one. 1986 Yamaha YZ250. At the time, the absolute dog's danglies. However, most of them that you'll see, they had a hard life. They were used, they were abused. It was what they were made for, but this one has been lovingly restored. Everything's been through, everything's been replaced, restored, refurbished, and it sits there as lovely as it is. There are only two things that are wrong with this bike, Tom. You can't hear it and you can't smell it, because not only do they make a glorious sound, oh, imagine that, 2-stroke racing oil. Get it bought.
Right, then let's find out what it's worth today. We're going to go straight in with you online at £1,500 is bid. At 1,500, 1,500. At £1,500 with the online bidder here. At £1,500 is bid. At 1,500, 1,500. At £1,500 is the bid now at 15. Would anyone like to go 17? 17. I'll tell you what, we'll go in hundreds if we can. We'll go 18 and then we'll go 2,000 after. At 1,700 with the online bidder here. At 1,700, would anyone like to make it 18? Great little fun bike this is. At just £1,700 is bid. At 1,700, 1,700. At £1,700 is the bid now with you online. At £1,700, say 18 if you're coming in. At 1,700, 1,700. On the YZ250 here at just £1,700. Would anyone like to go 18? 1,800, I see you. Gentleman's bid in the room at £1,800. At 1,800, 1,800. Say 19 if anyone else wishes to come in. Or online underbidder, would you like to go again for one more? At 1,800 is the bid. Gentleman's bid at £1,800. At 1,800, 1,800. Are we finishing done then? Last chance in fair warning. At 1,800 once, 19's bid. New bidder now at £1,900. Online, it's with you at 1,900. Say 2,000 if you wish to come back in. At 1,900, 1,900 with the online bidder here at £1,900. At 1,900, 1,900. At 1,900, 1,900. £2,000. I see you, sir. Thank you again. At £2,000. Gentleman's bid. Back in now at 2,000 bid. At £2,000. At 2,000, 2,000, 2,000. Say 2-1 for one more. At £2,000 is bid. At £2,000 is the bid now at 2,000. Are we finishing done here at just £2,000? Last chance in fair warning this time in a way then. At 2,000 we'll count you down online. At 2,000 once. At 2,000 twice. Finishing done then at £2,000. Provisionally with you 175. Thank you, 175. That is a provisional bid. Moving down the list we go to lot number 11 this time. Lot number 11, 2016, is the Husqvarna FC250. Nice little fun bike again. I'm going to go straight in with my commission interest here at 750, 1,000, 1,000's bid. At £1,000. At £1,000 is bid. At 1,000, 1,000, 1,000. On the Husqvarna here at just £1,000 is bid. 1,200's in with you online and 1,400 back to me. At 1,400, 1,400. At £1,400 is the bid now at 14. At 1,400, 1,400. 16's in online. At 1,600, 1,600. I'm out, you're in. At £1,600, say 18 for one more. At 1,600 is bid. At 1,600, 1,600. Would you like to see 18 anywhere else? At £1,600 is the bid. There's a few of you hovering at home. Would you like to come in for one more? At £1,600 is the bid now at 16. I'll say 17 next. Shouldn't need to. Little money here. Would you like the £100 bid? At £1,600 is the bid now at 16. At 1,600, 1,600. Are we finishing done then? With you online at the minute. At £1,600 is the bid then once, twice. Finished and done then at just £1,600 with you online at £1,600. That is provisionally with you online, 1096 at £1,600 provisional. Moving down the list we go. Lot number 12 is up next. Lot number 12, 2003 is the year. It's the Suzuki, it's the DRZ400, the Supermoto it says here. Looks great fun indeed. I've got several commission bids on the book, so I'm not going to mess around here. I'm going to go straight in at 1,000, 11, 12, 13, 14, £1,500 we start. At 1,500 is bid. At £1,500, say 16 if you wish to come in. At 1,500 is the bid. It's gonna sell today. The hammer's in the hand at £1,500 here. At 1,516's bid with you online. Welcome to you in Ireland. At £1,600, you're in and my commission interest is out. At £1,600 is bid. Say 17 if anyone else wishes to come in now. At 1,600, 1,600. At £1,600, the bid is with you in Ireland. At £1,600, would anyone like 17? At 1,600, 1,600, are we finishing done then? The hammer's up and selling this time in a way. At 1,600, the bid then once, twice. Finishing done, and this time it goes at £1,600. Sold at 1,600, 20780. Moving down the list we go, lots number 13, 2004 is the year, it's the KTM, it's the 525, it's the MXC, the road registered 4-stroke enduro bike. Look at this one, stunning bike there, looks great in the colours as well. I'm going to go straight in at £1,000. At £1,000 we start, say 1,200 next, on the KTM. At 1,000's bid. At 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, say 1,200 if you wish to come in. At £1,000 we start. At £1,000 is the bid now at 1,000. At 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, with me on the book at the minute, at £1,000. At 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, say 1,200 for one more if you wish to come in. At 1,200 for one more. At £1,000 then, are we finished and done, ladies and gentlemen? The last chance in fair warning then, at £1,000, we'll count you down online once, twice. Finished and done then at just £1,000. That's provisional. 1,200, I'll take it if it's there. Hammer's not gone down. 1,200's online, thank you. Slow bidder there online. At £1,200 is your bid with you at the minute. At £1,200. At 1,200, 1,200. At 1,200, 1,200. I'll tell you what, I'll take £1,300 now if anyone else wants to come in. At £1,200 is currently with you online. At £1,200, are we finished? Are we done? Last chance in fair warning. I'm all out. You're in online at 1,200 once, twice. Finished and done then at just £1,200. That's your bid online, 20246. 20246. That is a provisional bid there at £1,200. Moving down we go, lot number 14, 1993, the Yamaha TTR250 this is. Lovely bike again, look at that, great colours on this one in the white and blue there. Where are we going to go on this one? Starting away with me, 5, 6, 7, £800 I start. At 800's bid. At 800, 800, 800. Say 9 if you're coming in. At £800 is the bid now at 800. Lovely little Yamaha here at just £800 is the bid. 900, 1,000 back to me. At £1,000. At 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, say 11 if you wish to bid again. 1,000 and 11 bid. 11 in 1,200's my bid. At £1,200 bid. At 1,200, 1,213 bid. I'm going to go 1,400 and 1,500. I need to see 16, one more online. Double bid from me, what does that mean? At 1,500 my bid, 1,600 are you coming in? 16 you do, I'm out, you're in online, thank you very much. At £1,600 is your bid. At 1,600, 1,600, would anyone else like to go 17? At 1,600 is the bid. At 1,600, 1,600 is currently with you online. At £1,600, like to see 17 if anyone else wishes to bid. At 1,600, are we finished and done then? Last chance in fair warning, 17, new bidder entirely. 18, 1,800 now. At 1,800, 1,800. At £1,800 is the bid currently, with you online in Cheshire, locally, at £1,800. Like to see 19 next if we can. Are we finished and done? At just 1,800, 1,800. Last chance in fair warning then, I'm going to submit the bid. At 1,800 once. 1,900, slow bidder there online at £1,900. Waiting for the countdown, would you like to? At 1,900, 1,900. At £1,900 is the bid. It's currently with you online at the minute at £1,900. At 1,900, 1,900, are we finished and done? Last chance in fair warning, this time and away then. At £1,900, the bid is with you online. At 1,900, I'll count it down again. At 1,900, the bid then once. At 1,900, the bid then twice. All finished and done at £1,900 with you online at 1,900. That is provisionally with you online at £1,900 and you are 1075, 1,900 provisional. Moving down to lot number 15 this time. Lot number 15, 1982 is the year. It's the Yamaha, it's the YZ125J. Another stunning one of the Yamaha motocross bikes in today's sale. And I'm straight in at £1,000. At £1,000 we start, say 1,200 next. At £1,000 is the bid now at 1,000. At 1,000, 1,000, 1,000. At £1,000 is the bid, say 12 if you're coming in. At 1,000's bid now 1,012. At 1,214 bid. At 1,400 is the bid now at 14. Say 16 if you wish to go again. At £1,400 is bid. At 1,400, 1,400. At £1,400 is the bid now at 14. Are we finished and done at just £1,400? Would you like to go 16 anywhere else, online or in the room? Coming in for one more. At 1,400 is bid. Last chance in fair warning this time and away then. At £1,400, we'll count you down once, twice. Finished and done then at just £1,400. That is provisional with me on the book at £1,400, and that is 1084, £1,400. Moving down the list we go to lot number 16, 1982. Another one of these lovely Yamahas in today's sales, the 250J again. We're going to go on this one, two-stroke motocross bike. Going to go straight in at 2,000 bid, £2,000. Say 2-2 if you're coming in. At 2,000 we start. At 2,000, 2,000, 2,000. At £2,000 is the bid now at 2. At 2,000, 2,000, 2,000. Would you like to come in for 2-2? At 2,000 is the bid. At 2,000, 2,000, maiden bid on the book with me here at just £2,000. At 2,000, 2,000, 2,000, last chance in fair warning then, all finished and done at just 2,000, once, twice, 2-2s in, 2-2, 2-4. At 2,004 back to me. At 2,000, 2,004. At 2,006, 2-6 is online with you now, I'm out, you're in online bidder at 2,006. At 2,000, £2,600 is the bid with you online. At 2006, say 2.8 if anyone else wishes to come in now. At 2006 is bid. At 2,000, 2,600, the bid is here online at the minute at 2006. Are we finished? Are we done? Last chance in fair warning and away it goes at 2,600 once. At 2,600 twice. All finished and done then with you online at £2,600. It's provisionally with you online at £2,600 of 131, £2,600 provisional. Moving on down, we go to lot number 17. Lot number 17, 1982, Yamaha again. It's the YZ490J, this time the mighty two-stroke again. We're going to go straight in at 2,000 bid. At £2,000, we start with me again at 2. At 2,000, 2,000, 2,000. At £2,000 is bid. 2-2s in, 2-4, 2-4s bid. At 2,400 now. At 2,004. Say 2-6 if you wish to go again. 2-6. 2-8's bid. At 2008. At 2008. Say 3 if you want to come back in for one more. At 2,800 is the bid now at 2008. At 2,000, 2008. At 2,800 is the bid now at 2008. Are we finished and done? Would you like to come back in for one more? At 2,000, 2008. At 2,800 is the bid now at 2008. Last chance in fair warning this time and away then. At 2,800 once, twice. Finished and done then at just £2,800. 1047, £2,800 provisional with you. Moving on down, we go to lot number 18 this time then. Lot number 18, 2003 Honda XR400R as well. Lovely looking bike again. Where are we going to go on this one? Nothing on my book this time. Has anyone got £2,000 to start? Start me off here. £2,000. 2003 Honda. It's the XR400R. How about £1,500 to get it going today? 1,500. Start me off. 15's bid. At £1,500. At 1,500, 1,500. 1,600, 70. At 1,700 now, with you online. At £1,700, say 18 next. At 1,700 is bid. At 1,700, 1,700. Cheap little fun bike this is. At just £1,700 is bid. At 1,700, 1,700. At 1,700 and 18's bid online. At 1,800, 1,800 with the online bidder here. At 1,800, say 19 if anyone else wishes to come in. At just 1,800 is the bid. At 1,800 are we finished and done? It's with you currently online. At 1,800, 1,800. At 1,800 are we finished and done here? At just £1,800. 19 if you're coming in now. Last chance in fair warning. 19's bid. Gentleman's back in. At 1,900, gentleman's bid. Waiting for you online. Would you like to go to? At 1,900 is the bid now at 19. At 1,900, 1,900. Gentleman's bid, all finished and done. Last chance in fair warning this time and away. At 1,900 once. At 1,900 twice. All finished and done then at £1,900. That's provisional with you on with you, sir, at 175, 175. That is a provisional bid. 1900. Right then, moving on down the list we go. Lot number 19, 2017 BMW is the F700GS. There we go, big touring bike. This one is loaded, lightweight convention bike as well. Where we're going to go on this one, starting off with my commission interest here, I'm in straight in, 1,000, 12, 1,400 pounds we start. At 1,400 bit. At 1,400, 1,400, say 16 for one more. At 1,400 is the bid now at 14. At 1,400, 1,400, 1,400, 16's bid with you. At 1,600 in Ireland, 1,800's my bid. At 1,800 now, say 2,000 to come back in for one more. At 1,800 is the bid with me on the book here. At 1,800 is bid. At 1,800, 1,800. At 1,800 pounds is the bid now at 18. At 1,800, 1,800, would you like to come in for the two? At 1,800, 1,800. I'll tell you what, I'll take 19 if it helps you out. Coming in for the small bites. At 1,800, 19 you do. At 1,900, my commission interest is out. You're in online. At 1,900 pounds, say 2,000 if you wish to go again. At 1,900, 1,900. 2,000 now, back to Ireland it goes. At 2,000 pounds. We'll stay in the hundreds, 2-1. Thanking you at 2,001. At 2-1's bid, Ireland, would you like to go 2-2? At 2,001. At 2,100 is the bid. At 2,000, 2,002, you're in online in Ireland now at 2,002. Ireland bidders back at 2,002. At 2,000, 2,200 pounds is the bid now at 2,002. Underbidder, would you like to go 2-3? At 2,002, 2-3's bid. At 2,003. At 2,000, 2,300's bid. Say 2-4 if you're coming back in Ireland. At 2,003 is the bid. At 2,000, 2,003, say 2-4 for one more. Are we finished and done? Would you like to go again? At just £2,300, the bid is here online. Make no mistake. Last chance in fair warning this time and away then. At 2,300, we'll count you down in Ireland. At 2,300 once. At 2,300 twice. All finished and done then at £2,300 with you online bidder at 2,003. 811, 2,300. That is a provisional bid. Moving down we go to lot number 20, 1971 is the Kawasaki H1A Mach 3. And over to you, Steve Berry.
Tom, not just one of the best looking motorcycles for sale here today at Manor Park, not just one of the best looking motorcycles for sale in the United Kingdom, one of the best looking motorcycles of all time. Would you just look at this beautiful beast? 1971 Kawasaki H1A Mach 3, the triple with the ripple, baby. Truly a transitional motorcycle here. This is the period of ferment where there were more improvements within a short period than at any other time in the history of motorcycling. It's 71, we've still got spoke wheels, drum brakes. But interestingly, earlier on, a couple of blokes came up to me and said, did I know, and they might have just told me this to get me to say it, even though it's not true. They said, did you know, Barry, that that's the only Japanese production motorcycle that went from points to electronic ignition and then back to points again? In the comments, as you do on our website, get in there and tell me whether that's right or wrong. But I'll tell you what's right about this motorcycle. It is absolutely mint. Not a single flaw you'll find that anywhere. It's like we've got in a time machine and brought it from 55 years in the past to be here today. Utter perfection.
Absolute beautiful machine it is. I'm going to go straight in at 3,000, 3,2, 3,4, 3,6 we start. At 3,006. At 3,000, 3,006, say 3,8 if you wish to come in. 3,8, 4,000 back to me. At £4,000 is bid. At 4,000, 4,000, 4,000. 4,2's in online, and I'm out now at £4,200 is your bid currently online bidder. At 4,002, 4,4. At 4,400's bid, it's all online here at 4,004, say 4,6 if you're coming back in now. At 4,004 is the bid now at 4,004. At 4,000, 4,400 we're bid. Are we finished and done? 4,6, thanking you online. At 4,006, would you like to go 4,8 now? At £4,600 on the Mach 1 here, 4,8's bid. At 4,008. At 4,000, 4,800's like to see 5 if you're coming back in. At 4,008, 5,000's bid. At £5,000. At 5,000, 5,000, 5,000, would you like to see 5.2 next? At 5,000, 5,000 is the bid now at £5,000. Somewhere in the United Kingdom with you at £5,000. At 5,000 is the bid now at 5. 5,002. Would you like 5.3? 5.3, gentleman's bid. We're in hundreds now. Shouldn't need long to think. Floor bidder at 5,003, seated. Either one of you online, would you like to go 5.4? At 5,003. 5.4's in online. At 5,004, we'll stay in the hundreds for you. Shakes the head. At 5,400 is here. At 5,004. At 5,000, 5,400, would anyone like to go 5.5? 5.5 you do, thanking you at £5,500. Northamptonshire bidder this time at 5,005. At 5,005, would anyone like to go 5.6? At 5,500 is the bid now at 5,005. Are we finished and done? At just £5,500. At 5,000, 5,500, I'm going to start counting you down. We're with the Northamptonshire bidder at the minute at £5,000, at 5,005, sorry. At 5,005, say 5.6 if anyone else wishes to come in. We'll count it down at 5,500, the bid then once. At 5,500, the bid then twice. All done, all dusted at £5,500. That is your bid provisionally online. 5,500, 4439, 4439. Moving on down we go. Lot number 21. 1957 then is the AJS. It's the Model 31. It's the CSR, this one. Nice looking bike again. I'm straight in at just £1,000. Say 1,200 next. At £1,000 is bid. At £1,000 is the bid now. 1,000. 1,200. Gentleman's bid there at 1,200. I'm going to have to go 1,400 and 1,500. Would you go 16? 1,600. I'm out and you're in. Gentleman's bid here at 1,600. At 1,600, 1,600. Needs to go one more on. That's £1,600. At 1,600, 1,600, sorry. 18, 19 is running off online. We'll stay in the hundreds. Would you like 2,000? At 1,900 is the bid. £2,000 now. Gentleman's bid at £2,000. Say 2-1 if you're coming back in online. At 2,000, 2,000, 2,000. At £2,000 is the bid. 2-1. At 2001, shakes the head in the room at 2001. At 2000, 2001 is bid. At £2,100 now with you online. At 2001. At 2,100 is the bid. I'll take 2-2 if anyone else wishes to come in from this point. At 2,100, I'll count it down then, it's with you online. At £2,100 the bid then once. At £2,100 the bid then twice. All finished and done at £2,100 with you online bidder at 2-1. That's provisionally with you online at £2,100. Moving down the list we go to lot number 22, 2019 Royal Enfield. It's the Bullet 500 trials bike there. Nice trials bike this is. Retro style scrambler. Going to go straight in at just £1,000 we start. 1,000's bid. At £1,000 is the bid now at 1,000. At 1,000, 1,000, 1,000. Say 1,200 next if anyone's coming in. At £1,000 is the bid. At 1,000, 1,000, 1,000. Are we finished and done at just £1,000? 1,200's in online. At £1,200 and I'm out. At 1,200, say 14 if anyone else wishes to come in. At £1,200, 14 you do. Thank you, online bidder. At £1,400, it's all online here. At 1,400, 1,400. At 1,400 is the bid now at 14. At 1,400, 1,400. Are we finished and done with the online bid here at £1,400? I'll tell you what, I'll take 1,500 if anyone else wants to come in. We'll make the phone call. At 1,400 is bid. It's currently with you online. 1,500 seated. Before you online, just flip that one to the room. Gentleman's bid, £1,500. Not you online. Would you like 16 if you're coming back in? At 1,500, 1,500. At 1,500, 16's bid. At 1,600, would you like 17, sir? Shakes the head. It's online here at the minute at £1,600. Say 17 if anyone else wishes to bid on this one. At 1,600, 1,600. At £1,600 is the bid here. At 1,600, are we finished and done at just £1,600? Make no mistake, last chance in fair warning this time and away then at 1,600 once. 17 back in, thank you, sir. Not you online. Just undo it one. At 1700 it is. Gentleman's bid, thank you. At 1700, 1700. 1800 if you're coming back in now. There is 2 of you online. Either one of you, would you like to go 1800? Are we sure? Are we done? At 1700 with the gentleman here then, we're going to start counting it down. At £1,700 the bid then once. At £1,700 the bid then twice. All finished and done at £1,700. Provisionally with you, sir, at £1,700. We're very close on that one. I'm sure we'll get a deal back to you very soon. Bidder number 70 at £1,700 provisionally. Next one, 1992. It's the Moto Guzzi California 3. There we go. No reserve today. Who's got £500 to start me off? Surely. £500 to go on this one. Anyone interested to kick it off today at £500? No reserve. Must go. How about £200 to start me off then? Anyone interested at 200 to kick it off today? £200 to start. Anyone interested here at £200 surely? Where are we going to go? How about £100 then? Gentleman's bid. I'm going to take the gentleman two's bid. £200. We're going 50s. Would you like 250, sir? At £200 is bid. With you online. At £200 is the bid now at 250's bid. Thanking you online bidders at £250. This could be a bargain here. And 3 at £300 bid. At 300, 300, make it nice and quick online if you can. At 350 is bid. At 350, 350 and 4. At £400 is the bid now at 4. Would you like to go 50 for one more? At £400 the bid is online. At 400, 400, 400. At £450 is bid. At 450, 450, 450. At £450 we're bid now at 450. Would you like to come back in for 5? At 450 the bid is here online. At 450, 450, 450. At £450 we are bid. At 450 the bid down 450, 450. I'm going to put the hammer up. Would anyone else like to come in for 5? At 450 are we finished and done? At £450 the bid then once, twice. Finished and done. This time it sells and away at £450. Sold with you online bidder, £450 to bidder number 20246, 20246. Thanking you very much. Moving on to lot number 24. I believe we have a telephone on this. Yes, we do. Lot number 24, 1990. It's the Engineering Maxman, the Manxman there, the incredibly rare collector's machine this is. I've not seen one of these before. Where are we going to go? Starting off with me at just 5, 5.5, 6, 6.5. £6,500 we start. Say 7 next. At 6,005. At 6,000, 6,005 is bid. At 6,500 is the bid now at 6,005. At 6,005. 7's bid. 7.5 back to me. At 7,005. At 7,500 is the bid now at 7,005. Would you like to come back in for 8? At 7,005. At 7,000, 7,005 is the bid now at 7,005. At 7,500 is the bid. Would anyone like to go 8 on this one here? At 7,005 are we finished and done? 8,000 on the telephone. I'll take your bid on the telephone. At £8,000, telephone bidder, just press room. At £8,000. Online you need to go 8.5 if you're coming back in. It's not your bid online. Took the telephone first. 8.5 online is back in. My commission interest is done and dusted. It's between the telephones and online. At 8,500 we're bid. At 8,005. 9's back in on the telephone bidder now. At £9,000. Thank you, phone bidder. At 9,000 bid. At 9,000, 9,000, 9,000. Would you like to go 5 again online? At £9,000 is the bid now at 9. 9.5, yes please, they say. At 9,005, say 10 if you're coming in now. At 9,005. At 9,005 is bid. Yes sir, 9,750, telephone back in. At 9,750 we are bid. At 9,750 on the phones. 10, we'll stay in the quarters for you on the phone though. At £10,000, take the 250 again. At 10,000 bid. At 10,000, 10,000, 10,000. Say 250 if you're coming back in. At £10,000 is bid. At 10,000, 10,000. Are we finished and done? Would anyone else like to come and have a go? The telephones are out. You're in online. At 10,000 bid. At 10,000, 10,000, 10,000. Are we finished and done then? Last chance and fair warning. We'll count it down with the online bid this time and away. At 10,000 once. At 10,000 twice. All finished and done then. At £10,000. provisionally with you online at £10,000 and you are 1040 at 10,000. That is a provisional bid. Moving on down we go to lot number 25 this time then. Lot number 25, 1982 is a Honda CBX. It's the 1000 there, the Honda CBX1000. Where are we going to go? Straight in. I'm in at £6,000. At 6,000 we start. At 6,000, 6,000, 6,000. At £6,000 is the bid now at 6. At £6,000 is bid. Say 2 if you're coming in. At £6,000 is bid. 6,2 you do online. Thank you. At 6,002, 6,4. 6,004 back to me. At 6,004. At 6,006. 6,8 bid. At 6,008. At 6,008 is bid now. 6,008. 7 you're in Northamptonshire and my bidder's out now at £7,000. We'll stay in the 200s. I think there's a couple of you online. At 7,000's bid, would you like to go 7,2? At 7,000, 7,000, 7,000. At 7,000 is bid. At 7,000, 7,000, are we finished and done then? It's here online at the minute. At 7,002, new bidder again. Cheshire bidder, you're back in. At 7,002. At 7,200 is the bid. Would you like to go 7,4? At 7,2 bid. At 7,200 is the bid now at 7,002. At 7,004. At 7,000, 7,400 is bid with you online. At 7,004, both of you in Cheshire here. At 7,004. At 7,004 is bid. At 7,400 is the bid now at 7,004. Say 7,6 for one more. At 7,004, are we finished and done? Would you like to come back in? Last chance in fair warning this time and away. At 7,400 is the bid now at 7,400 once. Say 7,6, 7,6. I took the way, that was a bid, yeah? 7,6, this gentleman here, not you online. At 7,006. At 7,006. Online, I think there's 2 or 3 of you. Would any of you like to go 7,008? We're in the room here at 7,006. At 7,600 is bid. At 7,006, are we finished and done? We'll count you down online. At £7,600, you coming back in for one more. It's your last chance in fair warning then. At £7,600 with the gentleman here once. 7,600 the bid then twice. All finished and done at £7,600. That is your bid provisionally. 88, thank you sir. Not number 8, paddle 88. 7,600, that is provisional. Moving down, we go to lot number 26. Lot number 26 is the 1934. It's the Velocette KTP. It's not a bronze head, ladies and gentlemen. I believe there were some descriptions that said it was a bronze head. Auctioneer's announcement. It is not. And we're going to go straight in with my commission interest at £4,000. At 4,000 we start. At 4,000 bid. At 4,000, 4,000, 4,000. At £4,000 is the bid now at 4. On the commission bid with me at 4,000, 4,2, 4,2, 4,4. At 4,004. At 4,000, 4,000, 4,4,6 is bid. 4,8 back to me. At 4,008. At 4,008's bid. At 4,000, 4,008. 5's in online with you. At 5,000, I'm going to go 5,2, 5,4. 5,4's bid. Go 5,6 if you can online. At 5,004. 5,6, you're in and I'm out. At 5,600 with the online bid. At 5,006, would anyone else like to go 5,8? At 5,006. On the Velocette here, at 5,600 we're bid. At 5,006. Are we finished and done then at just £5,600? Anyone else like to come in and have a go? A last chance in fair warning then at 5,600 once, twice, finished and done at £5,600 with the online bid at 5,006. 1063, £5,600. That is a provisional bid. Thanking you very much online. Moving on down we go to lot number 27, 1950. It's the Vincent Rapide and it's the Series C, the matching numbers on this one. Stunning example of a Vincent this is. I'm going to go straight in at £15,000. At 15,000, 15,000. I'd like to see 16 next if we can. At 15,000's bid. On the Vincent here at £15,000. At 15,000, 15,000. At £15,000 we start. At 15,000, 16. 17,000's bid. At 17,000. At 17,000, 17,000. I'll take 500s from here if it helps you out. Would you like to go 17,500? At 17,000's bid. At 17,000, 17,000. At 17,000 is the bid now at 17. At 17,000, 17,000. Are we finished and done then? With me on the book here at 17,000, we'll count it down once, twice. Finished and done then at just £17,000. That is provisionally with me at £17,000, and you are 6955, 6955, 17,000. That is a provisional bid. Thank you. Moving on to lot number 28, 1951, a Vincent Comet Series C. This one, the Comet Series C. Where are we going to go on this one? Start me off. Let's get it gone today. I'm going to go straight in at just £5,000. At 5's bid. At 5,000 now. At 5,000, 5,000, 5,000. Say 5,500 if anyone wants to come. 5,200 we'll take it. 5,200. 5,400's next. 5,400. 5,600. 5,800. 6,000 bid. We'll say 6,200 if you're coming back in. At 6,000's the bid. At 6,000, 6,000, 6,000. 6,200's online and I'm out. 6,200. 6,400. 6,600. Gentleman's bid before you online at £6,600. Gentleman's bid at 6,600. 6,800's in online at 6,008. At 6,000, 6,008. Would you like to go 7, sir? At 6,008 is bid online here. At 6,008. 7,000 now. New bidder this time. At £7,000. We'll stay in the 200s. Make it nice and quick though. At 7,000's bid. And 2. At 7,002. At 7,000, 7,200's bid. 7,400 is running off online. At 7,004. At 7,000, 7,004. Say 7,600 if you wish to go again. At 7,004. Are we finished and done at just 7,004? Coming back in for one more, sir? At 7,000. 7,500? Go on then. 7,500. 7,500's bid. Thank you. At 7,005. We'll stay in the hundreds for you online. At 7,005. At 7,000, 7,500 we're bid. At 7,005, say 7,600 if anyone else wishes to come in. Are we finished and done? The last chance in fair one. I'll count it down. Gentleman's bid at 7,500 once, twice. Finished and done then at £7,500. Provisionally with you. Thank you very much, sir. 673. 7,500. Provisional. Lot number 29, the Vincent Rapide, the Series C there. Already sold away at 28,000. The next one we move to is lot number 30. Lot number 30 here. And we're going to go over to Steve Berry because this is an exceptional bike and he's going to tell you all about it.
Tom, somebody just said to me, I better let you get back to work. This is work, really. Standing next to the best of the best. One of the greatest motorcycles in the history of motorcycling and the best restoration of that motorcycle, I'm going to say it, in the world, because it was done locally by the acknowledged marque expert, who happens to be a mate of mine, Dave Marsden. You'll know that name if you know anything about this bike. This is the motorcycle that was used in David's book about the 900. It is utter perfection. I don't need to tell you about what's been... Right, I'll give you an example. These are the original wheels with the original, not a reproduction tyre, the original tyres that this motorcycle would have been supplied with back in 1974. The Z900, of course, is an iconic motorcycle, new levels of performance, not necessarily handling, but pure performance with incredible looks and affordable. It democratized the superbike. The CB750, yeah, a great bike, but as fast or as sexy as the Z900? I don't think so. And this is the best you will find, I'm telling you, anywhere in the world.
There we go. You heard it from the man himself there. And we're going to go straight in. Anyone interested to start me off at £8,000 to start? Anyone want to start me off here at £8,000? 8,000 to start then. Let's get it gone today. How about £7,000 to start me off? The Kawasaki Z1B. 7,000 to start. Surely seems reasonable to me. 7,000 your bid online. We'll go in 500s on this one. I'll take 7,500 next. At £7,000 is bid. At 7,000, 7,000, 7,000. At £7,000, would you like 5? I've taken the gentleman's bid at 7.5, not you online. 8,000 back in if you're coming in. At 7,005, you got 8 there, haven't you? Yeah, take it. 8's bid. 8,005 coming in. 8.5. At 8,005 now, online bids here at 8,005 in 9. At 9,000, 9,000, welcome in Derbyshire. It's with you at £9,000. Say 5 for one more. Look at it here. Find another like this, ladies and gentlemen, at £9,000. 9.5, thanking you. At 9,005 and 10's bid. At 10,000 bid. At 10,000, 10,000, 10,000. At £10,000, the bid is here with you at the minute. Back to Derbyshire at £10,000. We'll stay in the 500s. Keep bidding online if you wish to go again. And 10.5 you do. Thank you in Cornwall at 10.5 and 11,000's bid. At 11,000, 11,000. Derbyshire bidder now at £11,000. Say 5 again if you're coming back in Cornwall. At 11,000, 11,000, 11,000. Are we finishing done at just 11,005? Lincolnshire bidder and 12 now. Derbyshire straight back in. Thank you there at 12,000's bid. At 12,000, 12,000, 12,005. At 12.5's bid. Lincolnshire bidder, you're back. At 12.5 and 13 bid. At 13,000 now. At £13,000. Go 5 again if you're coming back in online. At £13,000. What a bike it is. At just 13,000, 13,000. I'll tell you what, I shouldn't need to. We'll take the quarters. Would you like a 250 underbidder? Being nice and fair here. At 13,250 you do. Cornwall's back. 13.5. 13.5 Derbyshire you're in. At 13,005. At 13.5, 13.5. At 13,500, 13,750. Thank you, Cornwall. At 13,750 and £14,000. Hammers up from this point, ladies and gentlemen. Make no mistake. At 14,250. Thank you, sir. It was all online. My eyes weren't with you. At 14,250 and 5. At 14.5's back in online. Would you like another 250? At 14,750, the gentleman. Just press room there if you can. Online, you need to go again. Gentleman's bid. At 14,750 is bid. Say 15 for one more. 15 you do. At £15,000. It's such a great bike, everyone wants it. At £15,000. Make no mistake when bidding. At 15,000, 15,000. At 15,000 and the quarter. Thank you, sir. 15,250 is bid. At 15,250, 15,250, say 15.5 if you're coming out online. You might have done it here, sir. At 15,250, the hammer's up then. At 15,250, 15.5's back in. Derbyshire bid has been in from the start. They're keen on it. At 15,005. At 15.5, 15.5. 15,750, okay. 15,750, thank you very much, sir. At 15,750, I'd like to see 16 next if you're coming back in online. We're not going to drop the increments any lower than this. At 15,750, but the hammer is up and we are here to sell, so make no mistake. At 15,750 and 16's bid. At £16, they like the drama. At £16,000, and it's a new bidder in Adlington this time. At £16,000 making an entrance. At 16,000, 16,000. At 16,000, 16,000. 16,250, thank you, sir. At 16,250, gentleman's bid. At 16,250 is the bid now at 16,250. Would you like 16.5 online? I can't keep it open forever. Hammers up and we're selling 16.5. 16.5. Adlington is back at 16,005. At 16,500 is the bid now at 16.5. Would you like one more? Thanking you. 16,750 is bid. At 16,750, make it 17 if you want to come back in. At 16,750 is bid. Gentleman's bid then. Hammers up now at 16,750 once. Twice. Finished and done then. This time I sell then at 16,750. It's hammer time and away it goes. Sold at £16,750. Thank you very much, sir. 16,750 and your paddle number if possible. 835. 835. Thank you very much. Moving on to lot number 31's up next, and lot number 31. First of the scooters then, ladies and gentlemen, it's the 1960, it's the Vespa 125. Nice looking Vespa there, lovely colour combination on it. I'm straight in at 800, 900 and £1,000. At £1,000's bid. At 1,000, 1,000, 1,000. At £1,000 we start, 1,200 here. At 1,200, say 14 if you're coming in online. At 1,200, 14 you do. Is that 14's bid? Ireland's in. At £1,400 with the Ireland bidder. Say 1,400, 16, sir? You sure? At 1,400 here. At 1400, 1400. I'll take 15 if it helps anyone out. Would you like the small bike? Lovely little Vespa this is at just £1,400. It's online here at the minute. At £1,400 is bid. Are we finished and done at just 1400? Take 15 up top. Thank you again. Gentleman's bid, not you online. Seeing it up top at £1,500. Say 16 if either one of you want to come back in online. At 1500, 1500. 16's bid. Ireland's back. At 1600 is bid. At 1600, 1600. Shakes the head then. We're in Ireland at the minute. At £1,600. Are we finished and done then? We'll count it down. At 1600 is the bid. At 1600 once. At 1600 twice. All finished. All done here then at £1,600. That's your bid provisionally online at £1,600. Thank you there in Ireland. And your bidder number is 20780. 20780 at £1,600 provisionally. Thank you. Moving down we go. Lot number 32 this time. 1956. It's the Lambretta LD150. Look at this. Lovely little Lambretta there. We're going to go straight in. 1,000, 12, 14, £1,600 I start. At 1,600's bid. Say 18 if you're coming in. At £1,600 is the bid now at 16. At 1,600, 18 bid. Gentleman's bid at the top, 1,800. I need to go 2,000. Would you go 2-2? 2-2. I'm out and you're in at 2,002. Gentleman's bid. At 2,002. Say 2-4 if anyone else wishes to come in now. At 2,000, 2,002. Lovely little Lambretta it is. At just £2,200 is the bid. Are we finished and done? Last chance in fair warning. Got to be fair to the gentleman here at £2,200. Once, twice. Finished and done then at 2002, 24. Sneaking in at 2004. Online bid. Would you like 26? At 2004. 25, okay. 25, thank you. At 2005, we're in the hundreds now. Make it nice and quick online if you're coming back in. At 2005. At 2000, 2500 we're bid. At 2500 once. At 2500 twice. Make no mistake online at 2500 all finished and done. Your bid, sir, 2005, 998, thank you, 998, 2,500, provisional. Moving on to lot number 33, 1958, Lambretta again. Look at this one, it's the LD150 again, lovely, lovely bike again, in great condition. I'm straight in at 1,000, 12, 1,400. At 1,400, I start with me. At £1,400, lovely little Lambretta here. At 1,400, 16, 16, 18. Would you go 2? 2, you're in and I'm out. Thank you. At £2,000. At £2,000 with the gentleman here. At 2,000, 2,000, 2,000. At £2,000 is the bid. Say 2-2 if you're coming back in now or anywhere else online. At 2,000 is the bid. At 2,000, 2,000, 2,000. Are we finished and done then? Last chance in fair warning. We'll submit the bid, so make no mistake. At 2,000 once. At 2,000 twice. All finished and done at £2,000. 2-2. 2-2. 2-4? 2-3. Okay, 2-3. Thank you. 2003. Gentleman's bid. We'll go in the hundreds now. Online, make it nice and quick. At 2003. 2-4. 2-5. At 2005, gentleman's bid back in at 2005. At 2000, 2005, we need to see 2-6 online if you're coming back in. 2-6. Shakes the head. At 2006. At 2000, 2006 is bid. Say 2-7 for one more. Are you finished and done? Last chance in fair warning then. At 2,600, I'm going to count it down. At 2006, once, twice. Finished and done then at £2,600. With you online at 2,600 and you're 1047 at £2,600. Moving down we go to lot number 44. Lot number 44, 1989 is a Honda SA50 Vision. Look at this one here. The Vision, there we go. Straight in. I'm just in at 567, 700 we start. On the Vision here at £700. Say 800 if you're coming in. Nice little scooter this is. 1989 at just £700 is bid. Say 800 for one more. At 700, 700, 700. Are we finished and done at just £700? Would you like to come in for 8? Last chance in fair warning this time and away. At 700 once, twice. Finished and done then at £700. Provisionally with me, 1084, £700. That is a provisional bid there. Moving on down, we go to the next one, lot number 35. I love this one, ladies and gentlemen. 1965 is the Vespa 125. It looks great in grey, and I'm going to go straight in at just £1,000. At 1,000 bid, say 1,200 next. Like to run in the 200s on this one. 1,200's bid. Gentleman's bid at 12. 14. 16. 18. Shakes the head. Your bid, gentlemen, at £1,800. At 1,800, 1,800. Like to see 2,000 next if we can. At 1,800, 1,800. At £1,800, we are bid. At 1,800, 1,800. I'll tell you what, I'll take 19 if it brings anyone back in. But we're up top at 1,800. Would you like 19, sir? Still shaking the head. At £1,800. Online, would you like to go 19? It's your last chance in fair warning. We'll count it down. Gentleman's bid up, 19's in. 1,900. Lancashire bidder, would you like two? Two you do, thanking you. At £2,000. We'll stay in the hundreds for you though. Lancashire bidder, would you like to go to one? At 2,000, 2,000, 2,000. At £2,000 is the bid. I'll take 2-1 if you're coming back in. Make it nice and quick though if you will. At 2,000 once. At 2,000 twice. All finished and done then at £2,000. Your bid provisionally. What was your paddle number again? 998, thank you. Moving on to lot number 36. Lot number 36 this time, 1968, Lambretta. It's probably my favourite one out of all the scooters in the sale. I just love the colour combination on this one. Looks absolutely great. And the black and bronze sort of colours is in. I'm going to go straight in at £1,600. At 1,600's bid. With you online, nothing on my book. At 1,600. Would you like to go 18? 1,800. Gentleman's bid. Before you online, sorry, I took the gentleman's bid. Make it 2 if you're coming back in online. 2 up top. 2 again, was the gentlemen are up there, not you online, just behind the curve online. Click that button a little faster, 2-2. At 2,002. 2-4 either one of you. Lovely colours on this one. I'll tell you what, I'll take 2-3, 2-3, they're in. At 2,003. 2003's bid. Say 2-4 if you're coming in now online. At 2003. 2-4. Oxfordshire bidder against you at 2004. 2-5. 2-5's bid. Back in now, in the room at 2005, Oxfordshire. Would you like to go 2-6? 2-6 you do, thanking you at 2006. They've shaken the head at 2006. Shaking the head now at 2006 is your bid online. And we sell, so make no mistake, if that sharpens your pencil, would you like to come back in for 2-7? It's on outright sale, it's going to go at 2006, once, twice, finishing done, and it sells away this time at £2,600. Sold at £2,600. Thanking you very much there. 20771. 20771. Wake you up a bit. Moving on to lot number 37. The Vespa this time. 1987 Vespa 125. Beautiful example. Looks beautiful in the blue. And I'm straight in at £1,600. We start again. At £1,600 on the Vespa. The blue Vespa here at 1,600. Would you like to go 18 anywhere else? At 1,600's bid. At 1,600, 1,600. On the little Vespa here, 1987, 125 at £1,600. At 1,600, 1,600. At 1,600, I'll tell you what, I'll take 1,700 if it helps anyone out here. At 1,600 we here. At 1,600 on the book with me. 17 if you're coming in. Are we finished and done? Make no mistake. Last chance in fair warning this time and away. 17's in. At 1,700, 1,700. At £1,700 with the online bid. Would you like to have a go on this one, sir? At £1,700. Are you sure? At 1,700's bid. At 1,700, are we finished? Are we done? Last chance in fair warning this time and away. 18 new bidder. 1,800, 1,800. Where have you been, Devon? At £1,800, you're in. At 1,800, 1,800. 19's bid. Thanking you. Lancashire, you're back. At £1,900. At 1,900, 1,900. Take it to 2 if you wish to come back in. And 2 you do. Thanking you at £2,000. At 2,000, 2,000, 2,000. We'll stay in the hundreds for you. At 2,000, 2 1s in online. 2 1s in. At 2001 with the Lancashire bidder again. At 2001, say 2-2 if you wish to come back in for one more. At 2001. Lancashire bidder, you're in. At 2000, 2001, are we finished? Are we done? Last chance in fair warning this time and away then. At 2000, 2100 the bid. I'll tell you what, we're going to sell it today at 2100. Make no mistake, are we finished and done? At 2002. West Yorkshire there. The hammer goes up and they jump in at 2002. Not letting it go that cheap, he says. 2003. At 2003's bid. At 2000, 2003. 2-4 for one more if you're coming back in. At 2003. Just undo it one. We're still at 2-3 with you online. Sorry about that, online bidders. You're stilling at 2,300. Make no mistake. At 2003. At 2,300, we'll count you down once, twice. Finished and done. Hammers up and away it goes at £2,300. Sold at 2003. Thanking you very much there, online bidder. You are 18842. 18842. Moving down the list we go to lot number 38. This time it's the 2024. Have a good look at this one. It's the Neos electric scooter. There you go. The environmentally green friendly scooter. Get yourself around town for nice and cheap. There we go. Start me off. Who's got £800 to start? £800 here. Seems cheap to me. Let's kick it off today. Electric scooter 2024 is the year. £800 to start, surely. Thank you, online. You're in. At £800 is bid. At £800 is the bid now. At 800, say £1,000 next. Imagine the money you'll save on this thing. At £800 is bid. At 800, 800. I'll tell you what, I'll take 9 if it helps. At £800. At 800, 800, 800. Would anyone like to go 9? At £800 is bid. Are we finishing done at just £800? Make no mistake. Last chance in fair warning. Electric scooter once, twice. Finishing done at just £800. That's provisionally with you online. 800, 131, £800. That is a provisional bid. Thanking you. Moving on down the list we go. 1975. It's lot number 39. It's the Honda ST70. The Lady Dax, ladies and gentlemen. Lovely one there. Love the seat on this one. Quirky upholstery to it. We're going to go straight in at just £1,000. And the Lady Dax here starts me off at 1,000 bid. £1,000. Go 1,200 if you're coming in. At 1,000 bid. At 1,000, 1,000, 1,000. At £1,000 we're bid. Say 1,200 if you wish to go again. At £1,000 is the bid now at 1,000. Are we finishing done at just £1,000? Surely there's 1,200 on the Lady Dax. At 1,000 bid. 12. Gentleman's bid. I seen him first just before you. They come in at the same time online. 1,400 will you? I'll tell you what, go 1,300. We're running at hundreds. We're at top there. At £1,200. Say 13 if you wish to come back in online. 13 you do. 1,300. Would you like 14, sir? 14's online already. At 1,400, 1,400. In Essex at the minute at £1,400. Nice little run around this is at just £1,400. If you've had a good look, you know how good condition it's in. At 1,400's bid. 15 now. At 1,500, 1,500. Thanking you online. Would you like to go 16 anywhere else? At 1,500 is bid. At 1,500, 1,500. At 1,500, 1,500, 16's bid. Thank you there. Cheshire bidder, you're back in at £1,600. Say 17 for one more. At 1,600, 1,600. Are we finishing done? Online, would you like to go again? At 1,600, 1,600. Last chance in fair warning. Cheap little bite this is at just 1,600. Once, twice. Finishing done. 1,700. I see you, sir. Thank you very much. Gentleman's bid in the middle. 18 straight back in there. Essex bidder now. At 1,800, 1,800. At 1,800, one more, sir. Would you like 19? I'll tell you what, I'll put it on sale. Does that help? Gonna sell today at 1,800. Take 19 if anyone else wants to go in. 1,900 you do. Thank you, sir. At 1,900, 1,900. Been nice and quick online. Hammers up and we're selling, so make no mistake. At 1,900, 1,900. Once, twice. Finished and done. This time it sells. Gentleman's bid here at £1,900 it goes. Your bid, sir, 1,900. Thanking you. 1,900. Do you have a paddle to hand? 242. Thank you very much. 242. £1,900 sold your way. Moving down the list we go. Lot number 40 is 1976. And Steve, what can you tell us about this? I can see you this time.
Well, I can tell you about 1976 and the 12-year-old Steve Berry, who's off to booze the newsagents in my hometown to buy the first edition of On Two Wheels, which, if you remember, Issue 2 came free with Issue 1, and you got a free binder on the cover of Issue 2. This motorcycle, the Benelli 750 Se, which of course is Italian for 6. It boggled my 12-year-old brain. A 6-cylinder road-going motorcycle. Of course, it was heavily influenced, shall we say, by Honda's own CB series of motorcycles. And I think I said in the preview, I don't know if it did get to court, but by the time that Honda had built the CBX, Benelli had already replaced this 750 with a 900cc version, making this not just a bike in fantastic condition, not just a bike which has covered 5,000 miles in 50 years. That's as far as it's gone, making this a very rare motorcycle. So tell me it's not got sex appeal. Go on, I dare you.
Well then, let's find out what it's worth. Well, I'm going to go straight in here with my commission interest at 5, 6, 7 and 8,000 pounds. Can I go 9? 9 and 10. I'll take 500s now. 10.5. You're in and I'm out at 10,005. At 10,500, gentleman's bid. At 10,005, say 11 anywhere else. I'm out already at 10,005. At 10,000, 10,500, gentleman's bid seated down the front. At 10,005, say 11 if you're coming in anywhere else. At 10,005 on the Benelli. At 10,000, 10,005. At 10,000, 10,005, would you like to go 11 now? At 10,005 and 11 you do, somewhere in the United Kingdom at 11. 11,000's bid. We'll stay in the 500s if we can. At 11,000 pounds, with you online at the minute. At 11,000, 11,000. At 11,000 pound is the bid. Would anyone like to go at 11.5? At 11,000 is the bid. I'll tell you what, we'll take the quarters. Would anyone like a 250? Make it nice and easy for you. At 11,000 pounds. At 11,000, 11,000, 11,000. The bid is online. Make no mistake. At 11,000 pounds, say 250 for one more. Are we finished and done? At 11,000 pounds is bid. At 11,000, 11,000. Are we finished? Are we done? Last chance in fair warning. I will submit the bid here at 11,000 pounds once. At 11,000, 11,000 the bid then twice. All finished and done at 11,000 pounds. That is provisionally with you online at 11,000 pounds. 11,000 pounds. Very close on that one online. I'm sure we'll get some results coming back to you. That's 20660, 20660. And when we say about results coming back to you, ladies and gentlemen, we operate on the provisional bidding system. Lot number 20, the Kawasaki, has now sold away at £5,500. So that one has now gone as well. And that's how the provisional bidding system works here at Manor Park Classics. Moving on down the list we go to lot number 41, the year's 2000, Yamaha YZR R1. Look at this. This is one of my favorite bikes in the sale. Look at the money that's been spent on this bike. Look how great it looks. Absolute monstrous machine. And for little money, I think it might be a bargain of the sale. I'm going to go straight in at £1,200 with my commission interest here. At 1,200's bid. At 1,200, 1,200. Like to see 14 next if we can. At £1,200 with my commission interest. At 1,200, 1,200, 1,200, 14's bid and I'm out. Thank you very much, sir. At £1,400, your bid. Say 16 if anyone else wishes to come in. At 1,400, 1,400, seated at the front. At £1,400. I'll take 1,500 if it helps anyone out now. My commission interest is out. Gentleman's bid at £1,400. At 1,400, 1,400. At 1,400, are we finished? Are we done? Last chance in fair warning then. At £1,400, make no mistake, once, twice. Finished and done then at £1,400. It's provisionally with you, sir, at £1,400. 170, £1,400. That is a provisional bid. I'm pretty sure we'll get a deal over the line on that one for you, sir. Moving on to lot number 42. Lot number 42 is 1979. It says circa 1979, so it's around the age of 1979. Yamaha TZ750. It's the Evocation. There we go. Nice little Evocation. This is lovely little race bike there. Great one indeed. I'm going to go straight in at 20, 21, 22, 23, 24 and 25,000 we start. At 25's bid. Say 26 if you wish to go again. At £25,000 the bidding starting here. At £25,000. At 25, 25. At 25, would you like to go 26? At 26, you do. 26, 27. 27,000's bid. At 27,000, say 28 to go again. At 27,000 is the bid now at 27. At 27, 27. At 27,000 is the bid now at 27,000. At 27, 27, are we finished and done at just 27,000? I'll take the 500s, I shouldn't need to. Would anyone like to go 27.5? At 27,000 is bid. At 27, 27, are we finished and done then? Last chance in fair warning, we won't hang around here. At 27,000 the bid then once. At 27,000 the bid then twice. All finished and done at 27,000. That is provisional at £27,000, and that is 1047, 27,000. That is a provisional bid. Thanking you. Moving down, we go to lot number 43. 1974, it's the Honda CR750, another lovely little racy vacation bike in this sale. I'm going to go straight in at 5, 5.5, 6, 6.5, £7,000 we start. Say 7.5 if you wish to bid. At £7,000. At 7,000, 7,000, 7,000. At £7,000 is the bid now at 7. Would you like to come in for 5? At 7,000 is bid. At 7,000, 7,000 are we finishing done here? At just £7,000, you coming back in for the 5. At 7,000, 7,000, 7,000. Last chance in fair warning this time and away then. At just 7,000 once. 7.5's in. I'm out now. You're in online at 7,005. At 7,000, 7,005. We're with the online bid here at 7,005. At 7,000, 7,005. Would anyone like to go £8,000? At 7,005, are we finishing done then? Last chance in fair warning this time and away then. At 7,500, the bid is here online. Once, twice, finishing done at £7,500. That is provisionally with you online at 7,500 and you are 1102, £7,500. Moving on down, we go to lot number 44 this time. Lot number 44, 1982 is a Benelli GP. It's the 500 Evocation, another lovely race bike again. Benelli won this time, and I'm going to go straight in at just £2,000 with me. At 2,000's bid. We'll go in 200s on this one. Would anyone like to go 2-2? 2-2. 2-4. 2-4's bid. Say 2-6 to come back in. 2-6, you're in now and I'm out. At 2006. At 2,600, say 2.8 if anyone wishes to bid. At 2,000, £2,600 is the bid now at 2006. At 2,000, 2006, are we finished? Are we done? At just 2,600, make no mistake, last chance in fair warning, the bid is here online at £2,600. Provisionally with you online at £2,600. £2,600, that is provisionally. Moving on down we go. Just before we move down, lot number 32, the Lambretta LD150, now sold away as well. Another one of the provisionals already going through. Moving on to lot number 45, 1979 Honda MTR. It's the 125. Lovely, lovely bike again. Looks great in the green and the white and the silver there. Where are we going to go on this one? Starting off with me at just £2,000. Two's bid. Say 2-2 if you want to come in. Great little bike this is. At just £2,000 we start. At 2,000, 2,000, 2,000. At £2,000 is the bid now at 2. Would you like to go 2-2? At 2,000, 2,000, 2-2's bid. At 2,002, 2-4's bid. At 2,004, say 2-6 for one more if you're coming back in. At 2,000, 2,004. 2-6, you're in now and I'm out online. At 2,600's bid. Say 2-8 if you're coming in now. At 2,006 is the bid now, 2,006. At 2,000, 2,600 we're bid. At 2,600 is the bid now at 2,006. At 2,000, 2006, are we finishing done then? At just 2,600 once, at 2,600 twice, all finishing done. Online bidder at 2008. New bidder sneaking in at 2008. Welcome to the party. At 2,800 is your bid now. At 2008. Would you like to go 3? 3 you do. £3,000 is bid. Say 3-2 for one more. A cool little bike this is. Make no mistake when bidding. At 3,000, 3,000, 3,000. Would you like to go 3-2 underbidder? Now's your chance if you do. At £3,000. Are we finished? Are we done? At 3,000, 3,000, 3,000. I'll tell you what, underbidder. I'll take 3-1 if it helps you out. At £3,000, take 3-1 for one more. 3-1, you're back in. At 3-1, 3-1, 3-1. At 3,001. At 3,002. At 3,002's bid. At 3,002, say 3-3 to come back in. At 3,002. At 3,000, 3,200, would you like to go 3-3? Last chance in fair warning then, make no mistake. I'm going to count you down underbidder. At 3,200, the bid is here online. Once at 3,200, the bid. Twice at 3,200, make no mistake. All finished and done then at £3,200. That is provisionally with you online, 3,200 and you're 131. Right then, moving down the list, we go to lot number 46. Lot number 46, 2021 was the year. It was the Jawa 350 Special Retro Calf Racer, already sold away. There we go. Moving down the list, we go to lot number 47 next. Lot number 47, 2011 Aprilia. Look at this one, it's the V4R, lovely Aprilia, Italian V4 Hyper naked bike as well. Absolute great machine this is, there we go. I'm gonna go straight in, 1,600, 1,800, 1,800 I start. At £1,800, say 2,000 to come in on this one. At 1,800, 1,800. At £1,800 is bid. Lovely little Aprilia this is, at just 1,800 and 2,000's bid. And I'm out already, online bidder, you are in. At £2,000. At 2,000, 2,000, 2,000, say 2,2 if anyone else wishes to join in. At 2,000's bid. At 2,000, 2,000, 2,000, lovely little Aprilia this is, at just £2,000. At 2,000, 2,000, 2,000, are we finishing done then? At just £2,000, make no mistake, we will submit the bid today. I'll take 2-1 if anyone else wants to join in. Would anyone like a nice little £100 bid? At £2,000 is the bid. Are we finished? Are we done? Last chance, fair warning then. We're here online at 2,000 once, 2,000 twice, all finishing done. 2-1, 2-1. At 2,001, say 2-2 if you wish to go again under bidder. At 2,100, the bid is against you now. At 2,000, 2,001. At 2,100, we are bid. At 2,000, 2,001, last chance in fair warning this time and away. At 2,100, the bid then once. At 2,100, the bid then twice. All finishing done. Last chance, 2-2. They like the wire bidding today at 2,002. Sneaking back in there at 2,002. At 2,000, 2,002. 2-3 straight away. Thank you very much, their online bidder. At 2,003, would you like to go to 4? At 2,000, 2,300 were bid. At 2,000, 2003, are we finishing done online? Are you coming back in for the one more? At 2,000, 2003, last chance in fair warning this time and away. The bid is here online with you locally in Cheshire. At 2,300, the bid then once. At 2,000, 2,300, the bid then twice. All finished, all done then at £2,300. That is your bid online, provisionally there at £2,300. That is a provisional bid. Moving down the list, we go to lot number 48. 2011 is the year. Another lovely Aprilia. It's the 1000R this time there. Where are we going to go on this one? Starting off, I'm straight in at 1,000, 12, 14 and £1,600 I start. Say 1,800 next. Lovely little Aprilia bike this is. At 1,600 bid. Say 18 if you're coming in. At 1,600, 1,600. At £1,600 is the bid now at 16. At 1,600, 1,600, would anyone like to go 18? At 1,600, are we finished? Are we done? Last chance in fair warning on this one, ladies and gentlemen, at £1,600, 18's bid. 1,800 now, with you online. At 1,800, 1,800, I'll tell you what, we're running £100. Would anyone else like to come in for 19? 19 you do. At 1,800 bid. At 1,800, 1,800, I didn't think it went on there. Let me just see what's going on. Okay, that's right, just leave it there. Online bidder, I think you went to bid 2,000. The bid changed. It's asking for 1,900. If you'd like to come back in, it's not a 2,000 we're asking for. We're asking for 1,900. Someone went to bid 2. Thank you. Online, you're back in at £1,900. At 1,900, 1,900. Under bidder, your turn. Would you like to go 2,000? At £1,900 is the bid. At 1,900, 1,900, are we finished and done? It's with you online then. It's your last chance in fair warning this time and away. 2,000's bid. Thank you for coming back in there. Cheshire bidder again. You're back at £2,000. We'll stay in the hundreds though. At 2,000's bid. Say 2-1 for one more. At 2,000, 2,000, 2,000. Are we finished and done here? At just £2,000. Make no mistake. Take 100 for one more. At 2,000 bid. At £2,000 is the bid now at 2,000. Are we finished and done? Last chance, fair warning. The bid is here online. Once, twice, finished and done at £2,000. Provisionally with you online bidder at £2,000. That is a provisional bid with you online and you are 5105. Moving on down, we go to lot number 49. Lot number 49, 2016. It's the Kawasaki Z1000. It's the ABS Sugami edition as well. Where are we going to go with this one? You're straight in online in Ireland. Welcome to you at £3,000. I got 3-2. At 3,002. 3-2's bid. At 3,002, 3-4. I've got 3-6. Go 3-8 for one more online. It might do it. At 3,006. At 3,000, 3,006. At 3,600 is bid. Say 3-8 if you're coming in now. At 3,006 is bid. At 3,000, 3,600, are you finishing done? One more if you're coming in. At 3,006, I'll take 3-7 if it helps you out. 3-8, 3-8 bid. I'm out now, Ireland. You're in. Thanking you. At £3,800 is your bid. At 3,008, say 4,000 for one more if you wish to bid again. At 3,008 is bid. At 3,000, 3,008, are we finishing done at just 3,008? Would anyone else? 4,000, thank you lads. At £4,000, gentlemen up top, at £4,000 is bid. Say 4-2 for one more. At £4,000, online the bid is against you. Left-handed up top at £4,000. At 4,000, 4,000, are you finishing done? There's a lot of people queuing. I've not seen this many people queuing, but no one's bidding, so we'll count you down. At £4,000, we're up top. Make no mistake, online once. At 4,000, 4,000 twice. All finishing done. Gentlemen, 4-2. Cheshire bidder, 4-4. Thank you for straight away. 4,004. They're straight back in at top at 4,004. At 4,004, online, would you like to go 4-6? At 4,000, 4,004. Are we finished? Are we done? At £4,400. Make no mistake then. Last chance in fair warning online. Once, twice. Finishing done at 4,400, 4-6. 4-6 is bid. Are you sure? How about 4-7? At 4,006. I've not bid, just undo it. It's 4-6 with them online. Just press that on, there we go. And one more. There we go. 4-6 is still your bid online, make no mistake. You're in at 4,006. I will take 4,007 if anyone else wishes to come in. If not, online has it at the minute at 4,006. Once. You sure? Hammers up then, we're selling this time, so make no mistake, if you want to come back in for 4-7, now's your chance. It's going to go at 4,600, once, twice, finishing done, last chance, fair warning, and it sells at £4,600. Sold at £4,600. Thank you very much to the hard work there on the provisionals team as well. Getting that one gone. 4,600, 5105. Thank you very much, online bidder as well. Moving down, we go to lot number 50 this time. The year's 2000, Suzuki GSXR750. And over to you, Steve Berry.
Tom, you know what's always seems like a good idea, but never is? I will tell you. Running a race bike on the road, ask me how I know, because I did it, and it's a terrible idea. Race bikes are for racing, they make terrible road bikes. What you want is a road bike like this 2000 Suzuki GSXR750 that has been treated to some of the most desirable, expensive modifications that you could imagine. The wheels, the brakes, the suspension, the exhaust, all kinds of stuff to do with the engine, but all of which is intended to work on the road. Then you paint it up like it is an escaped British superbike or world superbike, and you've got the best of both worlds. And the best thing about this is that this person obviously likes to restore rather than ride, because they've just spent an awful lot of time and money making this look as good as this, sound as good as this, and ride as good as this, and then they've moved on to another bike. So you get in like Flynn and benefit from all of that hard work.
All of that hard work there indeed, Steve, and I'm going to go straight in at just £4,000 we start. At 4,000's bid. Like to say 4-5 next if we can. At 4,000's bid. At 4,000, 4,000, 4,000. At 4,000, 4-5 you're in online. At 4,005, 5,000 back to me. At 5,000 bid. At 5,000, 5,000, 5,000. My bidder here at £5,000. We're going the 200s now. At £5,000, would you like to go 5-2? At 5,000 bid. 5-2 you do. You're in online. 5-4's my bid. At 5,004. At 5,000, 5,006. 5-6 is bid, and I'm out. You're in online at £5,600. At 5-6, would anyone else like to come in for 5,008? At 5,006 is the bid. At 5-6, 5-6, 5-6. At 5,600, we're bid with you online bidder at the minute. At 5,600, the GSXR750 here at just 5,600. At 5,000, 5,006, would anyone like to go 5,800? Are we finished and done then on this one here at 5,600? Last chance in fair warning online. At 5,000, 5,600, the bid then once. At 5,600, the bid then twice. All finished, all done with you online bidder at £5,600. That's your bid provisionally online at 5,600, and you are 1056, 5,600. Provisional bid with you online. Thank you. Moving on to lot number 51 is up next, 1995. This is the Suzuki GSXR750 again. Look at this one, 1995. Look at the colours on it. Great looking bike, this one. I'm straight in at 1,000, 12, 14, 1,600 pounds. At 1,600 bid, say 18 to go for one more. At 1,600, 1,600. At £1,600 is the bid now at 16. Would anyone like to go 18? 18 you do online and I'm out already. At 1,800, 1,800, who would like to go 2? At £1,800 is bid with you online. At 1,800, 1,800. I'll tell you what, I'll take 1,900 if it helps anyone out. We're running the hundreds from this point. My commission interest is out. You're in online. At £1,800, say 19 for one more if anyone else wishes to come in now. At 1,800, 19 bid. At 1,900, 1,900. Would anyone like to go 2? At £1,900 is the bid at the minute with you online bidder at £1,900. At 1,900, 1,900, take it to 2 if you're coming back in. At 1,900, are we finished and done? It's with you at the minute online here at £1,900. Make no mistake, last chance in fair warning this time and away. At 1,900 once, with you in Lancashire. At 1,900 twice, all finished and done then. 2,000 bid, new bidder again. At 2,000, 2,000. With you in Devon this time at £2,000. Go 2-1 if you're coming back in. At 2,000's the bid. At 2,000, 2,000, 2,000. Are we finishing done here? A cheap little bike this is at just £2,000. Make no mistake. Last chance in fair warning this time and away. At £2,000 with you online bidder and 1. 2-1 it goes on. Thanking you Lancashire. You're back in now at 2,001. At 2,000, 2,100 is the bid. At 2,000, 2,001. At 2001, we're going to sell today, so make no mistake, the hammer's up. I'll take 2-2 if anyone else is coming in. At 2001. At 2,000, 2,100 it goes. Once, twice, finished and done. This time and away, make no mistake, the bid is online with you at 2,100, all finished and done. Sold at 2,100. Thank you very much. Online, 2,100. To bidder number 18842. 18842. Thanking you. Moving down the list we go. Lot number 52 this time is 2009. Another R1 is the YZF R1 Yamaha 2009 in the blue this time there, ladies and gentlemen. A great looking bike. Only done 12,000 miles on this one as well. We're going to go straight in at 5,000 pounds is bid. At 5,000 we start. We'll say 5,2 next. At 5,2. Coming in, will you? At 5,000 bid. At 5,000, 5,000, 5,000. On the R1 here at 5,000 pounds. At 5,000, 5,000, 5,000. Would anyone else like to go 5,002? At £5,000 is the bid now at 5,000. Are we finishing done then? Maiden bid with me on the book here at just £5,000. Coming in for the 2. At 5,000, 5,000. Last chance in fair warning then. Are we finished? Are we done? At just £5,000. Provisionally with me at £5,000. And we are 921, £5,000. That is a provisional bid there with me there. 5,000. Moving on down we go to lot number 53 this time. 2000 Suzuki GSXR. It's the 1300R and it's the Hayabusa. What a quick bike this one is. Lovely bidding, straight in. I'm going to go away straight in with my commission interest at just £1,200. At 1,200, say 14 next if you're coming in. A Hayabusa here at just 1,200 bid. At £1,200 is bid, 1,400 now. At 1,400 Merseyside bidder, 1,600 back to me. At 1,600, 1,600 bid. At 1,800 you're in and I'm out now. At £1,800, say 2,000 to go on the Hayabusa this time and away. At 1,800 bid. At 8, see you waving away at the back, 2,000, gentleman's bid in the back of the room at 2. At 2's bid. At 2,000, 2,000, 2,000, say 2-2 if you're coming back in on the Hayabusa this time and away then. At £2,000, coming in for the 2, 2-2 you do. New bidder again. At 2,002, would you like 2-4? At 2,004 already online. At 2004, West Sussex bidder this time. At 2004. At 2004 is bid. Say 26 you do. Thanking you online. At 2006. At 2006, speedy bidding for a speedy bike. 2008, I like it. At 2,800 is bid. At 2008, West Sussex bidder, you're back. Would you like to go 3 anywhere else? At 2,800 pounds is the bid now at 2008. Are we finished and done with the West Sussex bidder at the minute? We're not. 3,000. Cheshire bidder, you are back. At 3,000 pounds. At 3,000, go 2 for one more. At 3,000 pounds, lovely colour combination on it as well. Looks great in the blue and silver there. At 3,000, are we finished and done online? You coming back in for another 2, surely one more. At 3,000's bid. 3-2 you do, thank you. West Sussex indeed, you're back. At 3,002. At 3,002's bid. At 3,200 is the bid now at 3,002. Would anyone else like to come in for one more? I'll tell you what, we shouldn't need to, but it's been a good little battle. I'll take 3-3. We'll go in the hundreds. Anyone coming in for a small bike now? At 3,200. It's currently off to West Sussex at the minute. At 3,002. Say 3-3 for one more. At 3,002, are we finished and done then? The last chance in fair warning on the Hayabusa. I'll count you down online. At 3,200, the bid then once. At 3,200, the bid then twice. All finished, all done at £3,200 with the online bid. Provisionally with you online, 10088, I think that was, 10088. Yes, it was. 3,200 provisional. We'll try and get that one over the line for you online and try and get an announcement back to you very quickly. Moving on down to lot number 54, 1998 is the Kawasaki. It's the ZX7R Ninja, and it's in the green. It's the only colour to have one of these in, to be honest with you. And I'm going to go straight in at 3, 3.2, 3.4, 3.6. I'd like to see 3.8 next if we can. At 3,006, 3.8. 3.8 and £4,000 back to me. 4's my bid. Go 2 for one more. At £4,000 on the Ninja here. At 4,002, my commission interest is out. It's with you online. Would anyone like to sneak in now? At £4,200 is the bid. At 4.2's bid. Say 4.4 for one more. At 4,200 we're bid. At £4,200 now. Are we finished and done at just 4.2? On the Ninja then it goes. At 4,002, say 4.4 if anyone else would like to come in on this one. Are we finished and done online? At 4,200 is the bid now at 4,002. I'll count you down anyway. At 4,200 the bid then once. At 4,200 online twice. Finishing done then with the online bidder, this time in a way at £4,200. That's you for 4. Sneaking in like a ninja there in the shadows. At £4,400 Cheshire bidder, you are back. At 4,004. At 4,400 is the bid now at 4,004. Locally with you. At 4,004. Underbidder, would you like to go 4.6? At 4,004. At 4,400. I'll tell you what, I'll take 4.5 if you're nice and quick and we'll start counting it down. At 4,400. It's locally with you in Cheshire at the minute. At 4,400 the bid then once. Twice, finished and done at £4,400. That's your bid online at 4,400. That is a provisional bid again though. At £4,400, you're 5105. That is a great little bike if that one comes through. I'm sure we'll be in touch very, very shortly on that one. Moving on to lot number 55 today is the 2001. It's the Yamaha, it's the YZF, and it's the R6 this time, again in the blue there. High performance, 599cc. Where are we going to go on this one? Someone start me off on it. I don't know, I've got nothing on my book. Who wants to give me £2,000 to start me off? Nice little R6 here. £2,000 to kick it off today. Nothing on my book on this one. Needs to get it going. £2,000 seems reasonable. Anyone interested here to kick it off at 2? How about £1,000 then? I won't go any lower on this today. £1,000 to kick it off here. Thank you online, you're in. Ireland bidder, we'll go in £200. We're at £1,000 with you in Ireland. Thank you for kicking off. Who would like to go 12? 1,200, I see you there. At 1,200 bid. At 1,200 for R6 here. At just £1,200. Would anyone like to go 14? Online Ireland, you coming back in for one more. Little money this is at just £1,200. Make no mistake. At 1,200. Are we finished? Are we done? At £1,200, if you're coming back in, we're not. 14's there. Devon bidder, 1,400, 1,600, thanking you at £1,600. Say 18 if you're coming back in now, Devon. At 1,600, 18 you do. Would you like 2,000 now up top? At £1,800 is bid. At 1,800, 1,800 on the R6 this time and away. At just £1,800. Little money this is. At 1,800, 1,800. Walking away up top then is with you online currently at £1,800. Say 2,000 for one more. Are we finished? Are we done? I'll tell you what, I'll take 1,900 if it helps anyone else out. At 1,800, are we finished? At 1,800, are we done? Last chance in fair warning. This time and away then with the online bidding, it goes at 1,800 once, twice, finished and done then at £1,800. That is your bid online bidder there, 1,800, provisionally 1096's way. Moving on to lot number 56, 2002 Yamaha YZF R1 there in all black as well. Looks mean in black there. Where are we going to go? Start me off on this one. I'm straight in at just £1,000. At 1,000's bid. Say 1,200 next for the R1 this time. The faster bike indeed. At £1,000 we're bid. Say 1,200 if you're coming in anywhere. At 1,000 bid. 1,200 now. Thank you online. At 1,200, 1,200 is your bid here. Say 1,400 if you wish to go again. R1, just little money this is at £1,200. At 1,200, 1,400, gentleman's bid. At 1,400, 1,400. Would anyone like to go 16? At 1,400 is bid. At 1,400, 1,400, are we finished and done online? You coming in for one more? I'll tell you what, I'll go 1,500 if you make it nice and quick, but we've got to be fair to the gentleman here at 1,400. At 1,400, 1,400, are we finished? Are we done? At 1,400 once. At 1,400 then twice. All finished, all done then at £1,400. Provisionally with you, sir, at 1,400, 170 takes it. £1,400 provisionally. Moving on to lot number 57 in today's sale. Lot number 57 is 2000 Yamaha, and it's another one of the YZF R6s this time. Looks great again in the blue, this one. I'm straight in at just £1,000. 1,000's bid. At £1,000, say 1,200 if you wish to come in. On the R6 here, at 1,000 bid. At £1,000 is bid, 1,200's in. At 1,200, 1,200, 1,200. At £1,200 with the online bidder here. At 1,200, say 14 if anyone else wants to have a go. At £1,200, are we finished and done? Little money this is, at just 1,200, 1,200. At 1,200, last chance in fair warning this time and away with the online bidder here. At 14 you do, new bidder thanking you. At 1,400, and Lanarkshire this time at 1,400, welcome to you. At 1,400 bid. At 1,400, 1,400. I'll say 16 if you're coming in. At 1,400, we finish and done. We'll count it down. We'll submit the bid, so make no mistake. At 1,400 once. At 1,400 twice. All finished, all done with you online. Currently at £1,400. Provisionally with you online bidder there at £1,400. That is a provisional bid, and that is to 3,575. 3,575. Moving on to lot number 58 then. Lot number 58, 1987. It's a Yamaha again. It's the YZR400R. Look at that. I love the colouring on this one. Looks great in the silver there. It's the ultra rare JDM import as well. Japanese domestic market bike. There we go. Starting off at £1,000 again. 1,000's bid. Say 1,200 if you're coming in. At £1,000 here, a cool little Japanese bike this is, 1,012's bid, 1,214 back to me though, at £1,400 we're bid, say 16 for one more. At 1,400, 1,400, 16's in with you online. I've got 1,800, £1,800 is bid. At 1,800, 1,800. Take the two now if you're coming in. At £1,800 is bid. At 1,802 you're in online and I'm out at £2,000. At 2,000, 2,000, 2,000. At £2,000 is the bid. At 2,000, 2,000, 2,000. Are we finished and done? The last chance in fair warning this time and away then at just £2,000 with the online bid here. I'll take 2-1 if it helps anyone out, but we're going to count it down. At £2,000 is the bid. Once. At 2,000, 2,000, twice. Finished and done then with the online bidder here at £2,000. Make no mistake at 2,000. That's your bid online at £2,000, and you are 811 at £2,000. That is provisional. Moving down we go to lot number 59. Is 2003 is the year. It's the Honda. It's the CBR900RR Fireblade, and it looks great indeed. The Fireblade here. We know Mr. Steve Berry loves a Fireblade, and we're straight in with you online at £3,000 and 2 if you're going to go. 3-2's bid at 3,002. At 3-2 now, with me here at 3,002 on the book. At 3,002. At 3,002's bid. At 3,000, 3,002. Lovely looking Fireblade this is indeed. At 3,004. You're in online and I'm out now. At 3,004. At 3,000, 3,400. With you in North Yorkshire. Welcome to you. At 3,400, you're in the lead. At 3,004 on the Fireblade this time. At 3,000, 3,004. Would anyone like to go 3,006? At 3,400 is the bid now at 3,004. Are we finishing done then? The last chance in fair warning. I'll take 3,600 if anyone else wants to come in. It's now or never online. You're thinking about it. 3,600 you do. 3,600 new bidder this time. At £3,600 is bid. Say 3,800 to come back in. At 3,000, 3,006. At 3,600 is the bid now at 3,006. Are we finishing done? Would you like to go 3,800? At 3,600. My interest is done. It's all online now. I'll tell you what, I'll take 3,700 if it helps you out. Would you like the £100 bid under bidder? At 3,006. At 3,000, 3,600 we're bid. Are we finished? Are we done? At £3,600 with the online bid here. At 3,600, 3,006. At 3,600 then I'm going to count it down online. It's your last chance in fair warning this time. Then at 3,600 and 3,700. Welcome back North Yorkshire. You're back in. At £3,700 is the bid now at 3,007. At 3,000, 3,007. Would anyone like to go 3,800? At 3,700, are we finished? At 3,000, 3,700, the last chance. Fair warning, all finished, all done at £3,700. Provisionally with you online, 20558, 20558. That is a provisional bid with you online at £3,700. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take a short little 5 minutes and I'm going to go over to Mr. Steve Berry to take you through a couple of bikes. Give me 5 minutes and we will continue straight away with lot number 60. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. I've been looking round the bikes and scooters that we have in our sale here. And as I think I've said before, well, I have said before, it's an education for me every single time I come down here. So I've just chosen 4 or 5 bikes that I think represent a time in motorcycling when the national characteristics of a people, a nation, come through in the motorcycles that they make. And a perfect example of this is this 2006 BMW R1200S, which really stood out to me in the preview as a mega bargain. The reason being, I had one of these for a couple of years, and every single thing that the owner of this motorcycle, the previous, not the new owner, the previous owner of this motorcycle did to modify it, reveals the stuff that I learnt from actually owning and riding one, like these LSL high bars that have been fitted in place of the drop-down sport bars that were on this bike. You see, when we talk about national characteristics, we associate certain engine configurations with certain nations. The Americans build V-twins. The Italians build fantastic singles and L-twins. And the Germans, as we know, build boxer twins with shaft drive to the rear wheel. And by this time, they've been doing that for at least 85 years. So what is not a perfect engine configuration had been so refined by the time that they got to this generation of that iconic setup. They'd more or less perfected it. They'd ironed out all of the problems. But one of the problems is that if your engine cylinders stick out like that, they're obviously very vulnerable to accidents. So again, the owner had fitted these engine bars to prevent that, to go with the raised bars, because, believe it or not, this bike, despite being a BMW Boxer, the pegs are really high. With the standard bars, it was a really sporty riding position. I've had GSXRs and 400s, NC30s, Ducatis. I've run Ducatis as road bikes, proper Ducatis. This is one, as a standard, one of the sportiest riding positions of any bike of that era. And remember this, that motor's chucking out 125 brake horsepower. Forget the days of a BMW Boxer doing 60, 70 bhp. 120 odd. I love the little panniers on the back there. A top box on this bike, it just wouldn't look right, would it? This, for me, is the last generation of BMW that have that traditional, let's call it BMW-ness about them. It couldn't be another bike. You were sat on it, you fired it up, you'd know straight away what you were sat on. And that is not a criticism of the current generation of BMWs. I recently rode the 1300 GS, and it's just a phenomenal motorcycle, although it did remind me of a Ducati Multistrada. Let me know in the comments what you think of that. The last BMWs. Let's look at a British bike, a Triumph Bonneville 865. Now, we had a Suzuki a few lots back where some chap had gone to an awful lot of trouble and spent a ton of money making a GSXR750 saucier, sound better, ride better, turn better, stop better. Then somebody's got a mega bargain, and this, which is coming up in our sale, might be cut from a very similar cloth. What a good-looking motorbike. It was an ex-demo 855 black Bonneville. You're thinking, the Bonneville never had those wheels, and you might recognise them as from, we've got one over there, Mr. P, if you can just turn around and point at that yellow motorcycle over there, you might go, oh, are those wheels off a Sport Classic, like that one? Yes, they are. Imagine how much hassle it was to get all this to work together. Done beautifully. That Zard high-level exhaust there. Again, we're trying to evoke the days of the desert sled. It's been awfully fashionable in recent times, hasn't it, for people to customise their motorcycle to look like those 60s Triumphs, BSAs, Nortons that went out there in Baja or the sort of high desert in California. I've been out there myself riding motorcycles, and it's addictive. It really is, especially if you're from Bury, Lancashire, which I may have mentioned once or twice. When you go somewhere where you can ride every single day of the year, virtually every single, although I did go on a ride and it rained, it spat, as my mother would say, in the morning, and they cancelled the day's ride. You can actually see the organisers of the event going, we're going to have to take a rain check on today's ride because of the weather. And I'm stood there in a T-shirt at the front with my arms crossed going, what are you talking about? You can ride every day. This is trying to evoke that style, that era, but it's done beautifully. Absolute top-end components, done in a fantastic style. And again, there's always a story with these bikes, and that's what fascinates me. But I would say a very British bike, although, of course, it was the Americans, really, who took those British bikes, made them look like this, and cemented the legend. Over here, Mr. P. I want to talk about Japanese motorcycles and what Japanese motorcycle culture, Japanese motorcycle design, Japanese motorcycle manufacture means. We've got a little Yamaha Virago 535 here. And you might think, why on earth, when you've got that room full of fantastic motorcycles, some real exotica, you've got Vincent's, you've got a TZ750, one of the most dominant racing motorcycles of all time. And you're drawing our attention to that little, let's say it, let's not avoid it, girl's bike. Because many of these 535s Viragos were bought by women as their first proper bike because it's got such a low one of the reasons is because it's got such a low seat height. Now, you might think, oh, well, is that... Well, look, I'm 5'10", and I am tippy-toeing on a load of the bikes that are in this room. So imagine my daughter's 5 foot dead. So 75, 80% more of the motorcycles in this room, it's just not happening, is it? This is what the Japanese did, and this is why I'm drawing everyone's attention to this humble little bike, which is in fantastic condition, by the way, to say that it's what? Now, needs a little bit of love. 1990, it's 36 years old. Paint's in fantastic condition, needs a polish. The Japanese wanted to get as many people onto motorcycles as possible. Unlike us, the Brits, they weren't just trying to sell them to vigorous young men from the age of like 19 to 35. They wanted everybody on a powered two-wheeler. Mum, dad, granny, granddad, kids, everyone. They made a bike for everyone. And one of the best examples of that is the Virago 535. There was nothing like it before. There's been loads of imitators, but that is the original. Make a cool cruiser-type bike, because let's be honest, a lot of honesty coming out here. Let's be honest, women don't like leaning forward on a motorbike because they're not built like blokes. In the same way that electric guitars and all kinds of equipment is awkward for women because it's been designed for men. A bit too much truth here perhaps, but it is true. So maybe they prefer that riding position. Maybe that's a motorcycle they can get on better. And that's why the Japanese were the ones who weren't afraid to build a motorcycle that wasn't just for blokes. Another example of that, of Japaneseness in motorcycle design and manufacture, is this one. A bit of a dark horse in this sale, one that might go under the radar, might not get noticed. 900 Hornet, in fantastic condition. And in my preview, I made this point. I'm going to make it again because I know that loads of you don't watch the previews, or you watch the first 5 minutes and think, is he still droning on? How long is he going to go on for? 2.5 hours? Yes, I am, because I want to tell everybody about every bike. This is a dark horse. This is a bargain. It's in fantastic condition. It's really been looked after. And again, it's what I was just talking about. It's an example of how the Japanese motorcycle manufacturers, because of competition between the big four, do you know how many Japanese motorcycle manufacturers there were as well as the big four? There were at least 150 others. They kind of warred with each other until the big four. And that competition created some of the greatest motorcycles ever made, including this one. Honda realized that many of their customers wanted a high-performance sports bike. However, as they've been selling high-performance sports bike to those customers for 20-something years, that lad didn't want to lean over anymore and have really, really high pegs. But he still wanted something that went like a bullet from a gun. So Honda built the Hornet. And the Hornet 900 is not a commuter bike. You can use it to commute, but by heck, they are quick. So again, a dark horse that might fly under the radar in this sale, but probably not, now that I've told you what a belting bargain it is. Which brings me to this Bimota YB11 Super Leggera. Again, a motorcycle that has the characteristics, I feel, of a nation. This could only have been made in Italy. No one else builds motorcycles that look as good as this. I don't know what it is. It must be something in the water. When it comes to design, no one can equal the Italians. And at the time, this was, I think, the most expensive motorcycle that you could buy in the UK. This was a UK bike, sold new. I had a bit of a story. Go back and watch the preview. I won't reprise it. In fact, I had somebody come up to me today and said, that story you told about the YB11 is legendary. So that might be an excuse to go back and watch the preview, but not now, because it's time. Tom's back on his podium, and it's time to put these bikes that we have under the hammer. But German, British, Japanese, Italian. These days, bikes are much of a muchness. It's not a criticism. They're better than they used to be. But once upon a time, a motorcycle was German, British, Italian. That's about it, really, isn't it? Austrian. And you could tell. You could sit on it, you could fire it up. You knew what you were on back in the day. And at Manor Park, in every single motorcycle sale that we have a ton of bikes bursting with national character.
There we go, the character from Manor Park Classics. And we're straight in at £3,000 on this one here. At £3,000, we're bid. At £3,000. At 3,000, we start here. At £3,000 on the Bimota. At £3,000 is bid. At 3,000, 3,000. Say 3,200 if anyone wants, 3,250. We're going the quarters. At 3,250, you're bid, and I'm out now with you online here. At 3,250, say 3,500 if anyone wants to come in now. At 3,250, 3,500 you do, thanking you. At 3,005. At 3,000, 3,005's bid. Would you like to go again? At 3,005. At 3,000, 3,005, say 3,750 for one more if you're coming back in online. Lovely bike it is, 2002 year. At 3,500, we're bid. At 3,000, 3,005, are you finished and done online? At 3,005. At 3,005, I'll tell you what, I'll go 3,600. 3,600 if you're coming in. Would you like the £100 bid now? At 3,006 you do. Thank you very much. The Lancashire bidder, you're in. At 3,006. At 3,000, 3,600, say 3,700 for one more. If you wish to go again online or anywhere else, you're coming back in. At 3,006. At 3,000, 3,600, 3,700's bid. Thanking you. At 3,007, seated at the front at 3,700. At 3,007. 3,800's back in now. Lancashire bidder at 3,800, 3,900. Gentleman's bid straight away at 3,009. Say 4 if you're coming back in now. And 4 you do. At £4,000. At 4,000, 4,000, 4,000. 4,100. Gentleman's back in at 4,001. At 4,002. 4,200 you do. The Lancashire bidder's back. 4,300. Thank you again. At 4,003. At 4,000, 4,300 were bid. 4,400. At 4,004. At 4,400, good battle this one. At 4,004, Lancashire bidder. Would you like 4,500? 4,500 you do. At 4,005, gentlemen are back in at 4,005. 4,600 straight away. Quick bid in there, shakes the head. I'll tell you what, we'll put it on sale today at 4,006. Would you want one more? Are you sure? At 4,006. At 4,600 the bid then. With you online, it goes once, twice. Finished and done, this time in a way, for 7. New bidder making an entrance at 4,007's bid. At 4,007, don't miss out now. At 4,007 is the bid. At 4,000, 4,700 is going to sell today. Make no mistake, 4,800 thanking you. At 4,800, you're back in now online. At 4,008. At 4,800's the bid. At 4,000, 4,008. Hammers up and away it goes. At 4,800, would you like to go 4,900? Now's your chance. 4,900 thanking you. At 4,009, take it to 5 if you wish to go again. At 4,009, it's going to sell today. Make no mistake. At 4,000, 4,900. Hammers up again. At 4,900, are we finished? Are we done? At 4,900, a bit then once. Twice, and it sells. This time away it goes. Online bid has it at £4,900, all finished and done. £4,900 sold your way. Thank you very much. Online bidder 5105. Moving down the list we go to lot number 61, 2008 Ducati. It's the 1098S with the Xerox livery, a sports bike as well. There we go on this one. Starting me off here at £3,000 on bid. At 3,000 go 2. At 3,000's bid. At 3,000, 3,000, 3,000. At 3,000 say 3,200 if you're coming in. At £3,000 is the bid. At 3,000, 3,200, 3,200 bid. At 3,200 now. At 3,002, just press that undo and then accept it. 3,250 it was. At 3,250's bid, say 3,500 if you're coming back in. At 3,250 with the Liverpool bidder. 3,500 now, Cheshire. Local bidders here at 3,005. At 3,750 were bid. At 3,750, East Yorkshire this time. Welcome to you at 3,750 and £4,000. At 4,000, 4,000. At £4,000 is the bid now at 4. Would you like 250 for one more? Make no mistake on this one. There's a couple of you online. At £4,000. At 4,000, 4,000, 4,000. I'll tell you what, I'll go 4,100. Shouldn't need to, but we will. At £4,000. Would you like the 100 now? At 4,000's bid. Are we finished and done online? At 4,000, 4,000, 4,000. I'll count you down then. At £4,000, the bid is here with the online bidder at the minute. At 4,000, 4,000 once. At 4,000, 4,000 twice. All finished and done then. With you online at the minute at £4,000. That's your bid, online bidder, at £4,000. That is provisional there. At £4,000, that is a provisional bid to you. Moving on down, we go to lot number 62. Lot number 62, 2005, is the Kawasaki Ninja again. We got a lovely Ninja. This one is a ZX6R Ninja. This one is, I'm going to go straight in at £1,000. 1,000's bid, 1,200, 1,400, 1,600, £1,800, and we're in the market to sell. At 1,800, say 2,000 next. At 1,800. On the book with me straight away at £1,800 and in the market to be sold today. At 1,800, 1,800, hammers up on this one. Would anyone else like to come in for 2? If you do, now's your chance. At 1,800 once. At 1,800 twice. All finished and done and selling away with me on the book at £1,800. Sold at 1,800. And that was to 3018 who left that bid. Moving down we go to lot number 63 this time then. Lot number 63, 1995 is a Honda. It's another Fireblade. It's the CBR900RR Fireblade this time. And I'm going to go straight in at 2000, 22, 24, 24 with me. At 2,400 bid. At 2004's bid. Just press room on that one if you can. At 2004, this is my bid here. I've got a commission bid with me. 26, you're back in. 26, thank you online, and I'm out. At £2,600 is bid. Say 28 if you're going to go again. At £2,600 with the online bidder at the minute. At 2006. At 2006. I tell you what, I'll take 27. Would you like a £100 bid? At 2006. At 2,600 is the bid now at 2006. Are we finished and done? Would anyone else like to have a go on this one? At 2,600 once. At 2,600 twice. All finished, all done. At £2,600 finished and done. And on outright sale at £2,600 it goes. Sold at £2,600 with you online bidder, and you were 20698, 20698. Thank you very much online bidder, that is yours. Moving on to lot number 64, 1998 Suzuki GSXR750 again. Lovely, lovely, great bike this one is. Where are we going to go on this one? I'm straight in at £2,000. Two's bid. At 2,000, 2,000. At £2,000 is bid. Say 2-2 if you're coming in. At £2,000 on the GSXR750 here. At £2,000 we're bid. At 2,000, 2,000, 2,000. At £2,000 is the bid. Would anyone else like to come in for 2-2? At £2,000 is bid. Are we sure? Are we done? Are we dusted? Our last chance in fair warning this time in the way then. 2002. Sorry online, it wasn't you. Gentleman's bid. The whistle echoes around. I don't know where to look. 2002, you're in at the front. At 2000, 2002. Gentleman's bid at the front at 2002. Online, you were in, but the gentleman bid first. Make it 2-4 if you wish to come back in. At 2002. At 2,000, 2,200 pounds is bid. Are we finished and done? The last chance in fair warning. We'll submit the bid today unless you bid 2-4 now. Once, twice. Finished and done then. Gentleman's bid here at 2,200 pounds. We'll submit the bid with you at 2,200. That is a provisional bid, 173. Moving down, we go to lot number 75. Lot number 75, 2002 is the Honda VTR1000 SP1. Another lovely little bike this is. I'm going to go straight in at £4,000 with me. We start here at 4. At £4,000, say 4-5 next if you wish to come in. At £4,000 is bid. At 4,000, 4,000, 4,000. At £4,000 is the bid now at 4. Say 4-5 for one more. At £4,000 is bid. At 4-5 and 5,000 back to me. At 5,000, 5,000, 5,000. Would you like another 500 online? At 5,000, 5 and 6,000 back to me. At 6,000, 6,000. At £6,000 is bid. Say 6-5 if you're coming back in. At £6,000. Online bidder, would you like to go again? At 6,005 you do. Thanking you at 6,005. I'm out now. At 6,500 the bid is online. I'll take the 750 if it helps anyone else out coming in. At 6,005 is bid with you online. Would anyone like a quarter? At 6,005. At 6,000, 6,005. Are we finishing done then? The last chance in fair warning then at 6,500 with the online bidder here at 6,005. At 6,000, 6,500 once. At 6,500 twice. All finishing done then with you online at £6,500. That is provisionally with you online bidder 811 at £6,500. That is a provisional bid. Thanking you. Moving on down the list we go. Lot number 66, 2004. Yamaha YZF R1 there in the red and black and white. This one, the landmark Generation R1. This one says, and we're going to go straight in at £2,000. We start at 2,000's bid. Say 2-2 if you want to come in. At £2,000 is bid. At 2,000, 2,000, 2-2. 2-2, 2-4. 2-4's bid. At £2,400 now. Say 2-6 if anyone's coming in. At 2,004. At 2,000, 2004, 26, you're in online and I'm out. At 2006. At £2,600 is bid for a lovely little R1, this one at £2,600, say 28 if anyone else wishes to bid. At 2006. At 2,000, £2,600 is the bid now at 2006. Are we finishing done? Would anyone else like to come in for one more? I'll tell you what, I'll take 27 if it helps you out online or anywhere else. At 2006. Are we finished? At 2,600, are we done? It goes once, it goes twice then. Last chance in fair warning at £2,600. Provisionally with you online at £2,600 there, and that is 681. Moving down, we go to lot number 67 this time then. 2008 is the Aprilia RSV1000. The RSV1000, look at that one, looks great indeed. Love the Aprilias today. Some absolute stunning bikes have been under the hammer already, and this one's about to go straight in online. Thanking you. I had a commission bid at 2, 22, 24, 26, 28. £3,000 is with you in Essex. Say 3,002 if anyone else wishes to come in. At £3,000 is bid. At 3,000, 3,000, 3,000. Essex bidder at the minute at £3,000. Would anyone else like to come in for another 2? At 3,000 is the bid. 3-2 you do. At 3,002. At 3,000, 3,200 is bid. Say 3-4 if you're coming back in now. At 3,200 with the online bidder here. At 3,002. At 3,000, 3,200 we are bid. At £3,200. At 3-2, 3-2, 3-2. Are we finished and done? Would anyone else like to have another go on this one? At £3,200 the bid then once. At 3,000, 3,200 the bid then twice. All finished and done this time and away with you online at £3,200. That's your bid online bidder at £3,200. And you were bidder number 1096. Moving down, we go to lot number 68 this time. 1998 Ducati, it's the 916. 916, there we go. By Posto then, look at that. Stunning Italian super bike this one is. Who's got £5,000 to start me off here? On the Ducati, 1998 Ducati here, 916. Thank you online, 5 you're in. Say 5.5 next, at £5,000 with the online bidder here. Nothing on my book on this one. At £5,000, who'd like to go 5-5? At 5,000's bid. At 5,000, 5,000, 5,000, coming in for another 5. At £5,000 here on the Ducati this time and away. At £5,000, coming in for 5. At 5,000, 5,000, 5,000. Are we finishing done? Maiden bid online. At £5,000. Are we sure? At 5,000, 5,000, 5,000. Last chance in fair warning then. At £5,000, 5-5. Thank you very much, sir. At 5,005, your bid. At 5,005, say 6 if you're coming back in now online. At 5,005. At 5,500, we're bid. Are we finished and done then? We'll submit the bid. Make no mistake here. At 5,005. At 5,000, 5,500 once. At 5,500 twice, all finished and done then at £5,500. That's provisionally with you at £5,500, 175. Moving on down, we go to lot number 79, 2005. It's the Honda CBX1000F. It's the Hornet this time. Love the Hornet here. Look at the end on it. Looks great indeed then. Comes with a sting. We're going to go straight in. £1,000 with you online. I've got 1,200. At 1,200 with me. At 1,200, West Midlands, you're out. At £1,200. At 1,200, 14's bid. At 1,400, 1,400 bid. 1,600 back to me. At £1,600. At 1,600, 1,600. 1,800, you're in now online and I'm out. At £1,800, thank you very much. Say 2,000 if you wish to go again. At £1,800 is the bid now at 1,800. Would anyone like to go 2? At £1,800 and 2 you do. Thanking you. West Midlands bidder, you are back in at £2,000. At 2,000, 2,000, 2,000. Would anyone else like to go 2-2? I'll tell you what, go 2-1 under bidder. Would you like the 100? At £2,000, take the one now. At 2,000, 2,000. Are we finished and done here? At just £2,000, 2-1 we're not. 2-1's in. Lancashire bidder there at £2,100 is the bid now at 2001. If you're coming back in for 2-2, 2-2 you do. Thanking you. West Midlands bidder, you're back at 2002. At 2,000, 2,200 pounds is the bid now at 2002. Coming in for 2003. Hammers up on this one now at 2002. Make no mistake when bidding. We're going to sell today. West Midlands bidder, you're in at 2-2 and 2-3. Thanking you. At 2,300 pounds. At 2,000, 2,300 on the Hornet this time and away. At 2,300 we're bid. At 2,000, 2,300. At 2,3, 2,4. 2,4's bid. At 2,004's the bid now at 2,004. At 2,000, 2,400, would you like to go 2.5 now? At 2,400 pounds, are you finished and done? The hammer's up. At 2,400 pound the bid. Last chance in fair warning then online at £2,400. It's off to the West Midlands once. At 2,000, 2,400 twice. All finished, all done, and this time it sells at £2,400. Sold at 2004. Thank you very much, online bidder. 543754437. Sold your way. Moving on to lot number 70. Lot number 70 is 1966. Good year that. BSA Hornet this time, and over to you, Steve.
Tom, when we talk about the bikes in the preview here, I always say all sorts of things, like I used to be on Top Gear. See, I hadn't mentioned, there we go, Mr. Pete's shaking his head. But the other thing that I bang on about is, if you can come here on the day, please do. And one of the reasons that I say that is because I met the owner of this bike today, and he was able to share some of his enthusiasm for it. If you're thinking, well, if he's so enthusiastic, why is he selling it? The same reason loads of people sell bikes. The same reason I've got 2 bikes to sell. Because we've got too many blinking bikes, and there's not time to ride all of them. It wasn't a bike that was on my radar, this one. Another Hornet, you wonder when they bought the name, Honda from BSA. A BSA from 1966, 650cc, parallel twin. It's just such a great looking bike, as my friend and colleague Mr. P on the camera here is showing you, from any angle. I was fully aware of the Nortons of this period, all too aware of the Triumphs, but the BSAs had kind of passed me by. And I repeat again what I said in the preview. Is there a British bike from the mid-60s that has this package of looks, performance, and exclusivity for the money? And I've had to think about it, and the answer is no. This is it.
Right then, let's find out what it's worth. The 1966 BSA Hornet, there we go. Gonna go straight in at just £5,000. At 5,000's bid. At 5,000, 5,000, 5,000. At £5,000 is the bid now at 5. At £5,000 we start. At 5,250, 5,500 back to me. At 5,005. At 5,000, 5,005. Would you like to go 750 for one more? A lovely little BSA here at 5,750 and 6,000's bid. At 6,000, 6,000, 6,000. Take 250 for one more. At £6,000 is the bid now at 6. At 6,000, 6,000, 6,000, say 250 if anyone wishes to come in on this one. At 6,000's bid. At 6,000, 6,000, 6,000. At 6,000, 6,000, 6,000. I'll take 6-1 if it helps anyone out now from this point. At £6,000, coming in for the 100. At £6,000 is bid. At 6,000, 6,000, 6,000. Would you like 100 anywhere else? Are we finishing done then? At 6,000, 6,000, last chance. Fair warning. At £6,000 then. All finished, all done. At 6,000 once. At 6,000 twice. Last chance in fair warning at £6,000. Provisionally with me on the book. And that is, where's my pen? That is 1075 there. Provisional bid. Thank you very much to whoever left that bid. We will be in touch with you very, very shortly. Moving on down the list we go to lot number 71 this time. Lot number 71, 1977 this time is the Honda CB400 there. It's a super retro style bike, it says. I'm going to go straight in with my bid here at 2,000, 2002. At 2,200 we start. Say 2.4 if you're coming in. At 2,000, £2,200 is the bid now at 2002. Would you like to go 2-4? At 2,200, we're on the book with me, so make no mistake on this one. At 2,002. At 2,000, 2,002, take 2-4 from anywhere else. Are we finishing done? I'll submit the bid to the vendor today. At 2,200 once, 2-4. I'm out already at 2,400, gentleman's bid here. At 2,000, 2004. Would anyone else like to go 2-6 now? My commission interest is out. Gentleman's bid seated at 2004. Are we finished? Are we done? Last chance in fair warning, and I'll count you down. Got to be fair to the gentleman here. Once at £2,400. Twice. Finished and done then. Gentleman's bid 2-6. Sneaking in at 2006. At 2006. I'll take 2-7 if it helps you both out. At £2,600 is bid. And we're going to sell at that, so make no mistake. Hammers up and selling today at £2,600. You sure? Done and dusted then. Online it is at 2,600 once. At 2,600 twice. And away it goes, this time and away at £2,600. Sold at £2,600. To bidder number 11500. 11500. Thanking you very much there online, sneaking in at the last minute. And lot number 72, 2003, Suzuki, it's the GSF, it's the 600S Bandit. Look at that, gotta love a Bandit. This is a great looking Bandit, and I'm straight in at just £500 on the Bandit here. Say 600 if you're coming in. At £500 is bid. At 500 bid. At £500. Is that 750? We'll take it. That's okay. At £500. Online, if you bid 750, would you like to just come at 6? There we go, that helps us all out. 600, gentleman's bid, they were in first, 7's in. 800, £800. Gentleman's bid at the front at 8. At 800's bid. Online, would you like to go 9? At 800, 800, 800. Are we finishing done then? Nice little Bandit this is, at just £800. Make no mistake. Last chance in fair warning, and 9 is back in. £1,000 here. Would you like 11? Are you sure? Okay. £1,000, not you on. There's already gentlemen in at £1,000. Just turn it to the floor if we can. That one. There, here we go. £1,000, your bid. 1,100's back in now online. Ireland bid at 12. £1,200 is bid. At £1,200 seated. Ireland, would you like to go 13? Make it now or never. 13 you do. Thanking West Midlands this time. 1,300, 1,400. You're up against a couple of them here online. At £1,400 is bid. We're in the room though, so make no mistake. At 1,400, 1,400. At 1,400, are we finishing done online? At £1,400, last chance in Feb, 1,500's bid. At 1,500, 16 straight away there. I appreciate the fast bidding, thank you very much. At £1,600, online, make it nice and quick. We're selling today at £1,600. Hammers in the hand now. If you wish to bid, 17 you do. 1,700, 1,800 straight away. £1,800 is bid. Hammers back up, make no mistake. Quick bidding here at 1,800 once, twice. Finished and done. 19's back in now, 1,900. £2,000 straight away now at 2. 2,000's bid. Hammers up again. Online, you coming back in for one more. At 2,000 once. 2-1 they do. At 2001, shaking the head at the front. You might have done it online. At 2001, would anyone else like to have a go? At 2,100 a bid then once. At 2,100 a bid then twice. It sells this time. You sure? At £2,100, it's gonna go. Shakes the head. Clarification. Sold with you online at £2,100. Thank you very much in the West Midlands. 20652. That is yours. 20652. Thanking you. Moving on down we go. Lot number 73 is up next. It's a 1997 Suzuki. It's the GSF 600 Bandit again. Looks great in the red as well. I'm going to go straight in. £1,000 and £1,200. Let's say 1,400 next if we can. At 1,200 with me here. At £1,200 is bid. Would anyone like to go 14 on this one? Nice Bandit in the red this time. At £1,200 is bid. At 1,200, 1,200, 1,200. Take 14 if anyone else wishes to come in. Commission bid with me, make no mistake. At £1,200 is the bid now at 12. At 1,200, 1,200 bid. Are you coming in online? There's loads of you queuing up. If you missed out on that last bike, have a good think about this one. At £1,200 bid. With me on the book, make no mistake. I'll take 1,300. I really shouldn't need to, but if it helps you out, did someone bid 14 then? Just press undo and it will come back in there. 1,400, you're in online. That clears my commission interest. Thank you very much. I'll go 1,500 if anyone else wishes to bid now. At £1,400 bid. At 1,400, 1,400. 15's in now. Cheshire bidder, you're back. At £1,500 bid. At 1500, 1500. Would anyone like to go 16 here? Lovely little red bandit at £1,500 is bid. Are we finishing done? At 1500, 1500. Last chance, fair warning then. At £1,500. 16's back in. West Midlands bidder, you're back for another one. At £1,600 is bid. At 1600, 1600. At £1,600 is bid. Would anyone else like to go 17? At 1600, 1600. Last chance. Fair warning. At £1,600, we're going to count it down. At £1,600, the bid then once. At £1,600, the bid then twice. All finishing done with you online. That is provisional at £1,600. We are nearly there on that one. £1,600 with you, 20652. Thank you very much. We'll get a call with you and be in touch very often if that was you online. Thank you very much there. We will be in touch shortly. Moving on to lot number 74, 2012 Ducati. It's the Molestrada and it's the 1200. One bike that does it all, it says here. Look at that. I love this Ducati. It looks great indeed. I'm going to go straight in at 2000, 22. 24, 26, 26 we start. At £2,600 is bid. At 2006, say 28 if you wish to bid now. At 2006 is bid. Lovely little Ducati this is. Cheap little money as well at 2006. At £2,600 is the bid now at 2006. At 2,600 we're bid. Would anyone else like to come in now for 2008? At 2,600 is the bid. Are we finished? Are we done? Last chance in fair warning. We'll count it down then. Once. 2 8s in. At 2008. And 3,000 back to me. 3,000's here. I'll go 3-1 if you want to jump back in online. At £3,000 is bid. At 3,000, 3,000, 3,000. At £3,000 is the bid now at 3. Would anyone else like to come in for 3-1? Are we finished? Are we done? Last chance in fair warning then. Once, twice. Finished and done at £3,000. That's provisionally with me at £3,000 to 1102. £3,000 provisional bid there. Thanking you very much. Moving on down the list we go. Lot number 75, 2014 this time then. Slightly newer one here. It's the 1200S. This one we go. It's got the Pikes Peak Italian adventure bike, and we're going to go straight in. Anyone interested? Start me off today at £3,000. Start me off here. Get it gone today. Nothing on my book on this one. Kick it off today at £3,000 surely. 3's in online. Thanking you. At £3,000 is bid. 3's bid. There we go. At £3,000. At 3,000, 3,000, 3,000. Coming in for the 2. At £3,000 is the bid now at 3. At 3,000, 3,000, 3,000. Say 3-2 if anyone wishes to come in. Last chance in fair warning with you then. At £3,000. Are we 3-2? I'm going to take the bid up top, not with you online. So we just turn that around. It's 3-2. Just undo it. And then press that floor priority one there. There we go. 3-2. Your bid up top. At 3,002. Say 3-4 if you want to come back in online. It wasn't your bid. I took the gentleman's bid just ahead of you. At 3,002. Are we finished and done? Last chance in fair warning. Online if you're coming back. Now's your chance. At 3,200 the bid then once, twice. Finishing done at £3,200. Provisionally with you. 530. Thank you very much. 530. And that was 3,200 provisional. Nice bike that one is. Moving on to lot number 76 this time. It's another lovely Kawasaki in today's sale. It's the 1975. It's the Z1B. Look at this one. Another beautifully restored bike. 70s iconic bike indeed. I'm going to go straight in with your bid there at 4.5, but I've got £5,000. 5's bid. At 5,000, 5,000, 5,000. At £5,000. With me on the book here at £5,000. 5,250. 5,5. At 5,005 back to me. At 5,000, 5,005. At 5,500, 5,750's bid. At 5,750 and £6,000 back to me now at 6. At 6,000 bid. At 6,000, 6,000, 6,000. Say 250 for one more. 6,250. You're in online and my commission bidder's out. Online bid at the minute at 6,250. At 6,250, 6,250. Would anyone else like to go 6,5 on this one? At 6,250, are we finished? Are we done? At 6,250 the bid then. Last chance in fair warning this time and away. Goes once. With you online. Are you bidding? 6,5 up top. Thank you, sir. At 6,005. At 6,000, 6,500 we're bid. At 6,500 is the bid now at 6,500. Are we finishing done? The last chance in fair warning then at 6,500. Online if you're coming back, now's your chance. Once, twice, finishing done then. Up top it goes at £6,500. That is provisionally with you, sir, on that one at 6,500. 835 takes that one, 835. That is a provisional bid there. Thank you very much at £6,500. If you go and have a word with the guys on the desk, I'm sure they'll tell you where you need to be on that one as well. Thank you. Moving on to lot number 77 there. Lot number 77 is the 2006. It's the Moto Guzzi Nevada Classic, the 750IE. This one, cruiser style with the high bars there. We're going to go straight in at £1,000. At just 1,000's bid. At 1,000, 1,000, 1,000. At £1,000 is bid. At £1,000 now. Say 1,200 if you're coming in. At £1,000 we start. At just £1,000. Little money here for the Moto Guzzi. At 1,000 bid. 1,200. 12's bid. 1,200 now. Coming in for 14. One more. At £1,200 is the bid now at 12. At 1,200, 1,200, 1,200. Would you like to go 14 anywhere else? Are we finishing done at just £1,200? This is your last chance in fair warning then. All finished, all done. Goes once, goes twice. 14 bid. 1,400 now. Leicestershire bidder, you're in. At 1,400, 1,400. Would anyone like to go 16? Cheap little bite this is still. At just £1,400. At 1,400, 1,400. Have a good look. Make no mistake. Little money. I'll tell you what, I'll take £1,500 if it helps anyone else out. Would you like a £100 bite? Surely coming in now. At 1,400, is that all we're going to see? At 1,400, 1,400. The last chance in fair warning. I'll take 15 if anyone wants to come in. Go once, go twice. Finished and done then at £1,400. Provisionally with you online, 20785, 20785. That is your bid provisionally there at £1,400 provisional. Moving down, we go to lot number 78 next, then 1998. Suzuki is the VL1500 Intruder, this one is. Look at that one, the Intruder there. I wouldn't want that one intruding. It's a monstrous machine. Going to go straight in. Anyone interested? Who's got £1,000 to go on the Intruder here? Cool little bite this is for £1,000. Seems little money. Start me off today at £1,000 coming in. Thousands to start it off. Surely there's £1,000 out there for this one. I'll go to £500 then. I won't go any lower. Nice little fun cruiser bike this is for £500 to kick it off. Nothing on my book. Today it needs to be 500 to start. Thank you online. We'll run in hundreds on this one. 500's bid, but make it nice and quick online. Coming in for 6. 6 you do. £600 now. Say 7 if you're going to bid again. At 600, 600 with you online in 7 now. At £700, would you like to go 8? At 700, 700 and 800 bid. At 800, 800 your bid online. Coming in for the 9. At £800 is the bid now at 8. At 800, 800, 800. At £800 is bid. Would you like to go 9 now? Cheap little Intruder here. At 900 you do. At £900 is bid. At 900, 900, £1,000. At 1,000 now, coming in for 11. At £1,000 is bid. On the Intruder this time and away then. At 1,000 bid. At 1,000, 1,000, 1,000. Are we finished and done online? Is that all we're going to see today? Make no mistake here. At £1,000 is bid. At 1,000, 1,000. Last chance in fair warning then. It's currently here at 1,000, 1,100 now. New bidder. At £1,100. On the Intruder here, the VL1500 at just 1,100. Would you like to go 12? At 1,100, 1,100. Are we finished and done online? You're coming back in for one more. Now's your chance if you are. At £1,100, we're going to count it down, so make no mistake. At just £1,100, the bid then once. At £1,100, £1,100, the bid then twice. All finished, all done with you online then at £1,100. That's provisionally with you, 20756. 207, is that 56? 56 it was. 1,100, provisional. Moving on to lot number 79 this time, 2012, it's the Triumph Bonneville, it's the 865, the nice looking Bonneville this one. Outstanding custom built scrambler it says here, and we're straight in at £2,000. At 2,000's bid. At 2,000, go 2-2 if you're coming in. At 2,002, 2-4, 2-6 is bid. At 2,006 now. At 2,000, 2,600 is the bid now. At 2,006, 2-8 back to me. At 2,008, say 3,000 if you're coming in. At 3 you do, thank you, and I'm out now. At 2,803 bid. At 3,000 now, with you in Lincolnshire. At 3,000 bid. Say 3-2 if anyone else wishes to continue. My commission interest is out. You're in online. At 3,000, 3,000, 3,000. 3-1. 3-1, okay. At 3,001. Nice little bike this is. At 3,001. Make it nice and quick if you're coming back in online. We're in £100. 3-2. Locally in Cheshire at 3-2. 3-3. Thanking you. At 3,003. Up top again at 3,003, gentleman's bid. At 3,000, 3,003, coming back in for the 4. 3-4 you do. At 3,004, 3-5, 3-5's bid, gentleman's bid. At 3,005. Online, would you like to go 3-6? 3-6 is back in. 3-7, okay, at £3,700. Online, 3-8, thanking you at 3,008. 3-9's back in. At 3,009, on the mezzanine now at 3,009, 4's bid. At £4,000 with the online bidder in Cheshire here at £4,000. Shakes the head on the mezzanine. Say 4-1 if anyone else wants to come in. Cheap little bike this is. At just 4,000, 4,000. A lovely little Bonneville here. The 865 in the blue. At 4,000, 4,000. Are we finished? Are we done? At £4,000. Take another 100 if it helps. At £4,000. Are we finished? Are we done? Last chance, fair warning, then online it goes at 4,100 bid, new entrance there. New gentleman at the back at 4,001. Say 4-2 if you're coming back in online, 4-2 you do. At 4,002, would you like to go 4-3? At 4,002's bid. At 4,000, 4,200 pound is the bid now at 4,002. Coming back in for the 4-3. At 4,002, are we finished, are we done? Last chance is against you, sir, it's online here at 4,002. At 4,000, 4,200 pounds is bid. At 4,002, once. 4-3, loves the countdown. At 4,300 pounds is bid. At 4,000, 4,003. Someone else tried bidding 4-3 online as well. Would you like to come back in 4-4? You do. At 4,004, say 4-5 for one more. There's a couple of you still online. If you're going to bid, then bid quick. At 4,004. At 4,000, 4,400, we're bid now at 4,004. We finished? Are we done? Last chance in fair warning. It's online here at £4,400. I'm going to count it down at 4,400, the bid then once. At 4,400 is online twice. 4-5, 4-5. At 4,500, thank you very much, sir. Back in. At 4,005, online underbidder, would you like to go 4-6? Make it nice and quick if you will. At 4,005, I'll give you the countdown as well. At 4,000, 4,005, locally in Cheshire, you're coming back for 4-6. Once. At 4,000, 4,500, twice. All finished, all done then at 4,500. Gentleman's bid at 4,005. That's provisionally with you. Thank you very much. 175 takes it. 175, 4,500 provisional. Moving on to lot number 80. Lot number 80, 1976 Yamaha the RD400. And over to you, Steve.
It was loud, it was raucous, it was in your face, and it was half a century ago. The summit of punk, the Pistols, the Clash, the Damned. There was another loud, raucous, exciting and exhilarating sound in Bury, Lancashire, because my dad had a Yamaha RD400, possibly even more exciting than punk rock music. But this is no ordinary Yamaha RD400, not that anyone could ever describe this motorcycle as ordinary. We, i.e. me and the lads here from Manor Park, were at the Stafford Classic Bike Show, and we took this bike with us. And we had a great time as people would wander up and say, what a fantastic restoration. It almost looks brand new. Well, let me tell you something. It is brand new. It's never been restored. A Yamaha RD400 with one, count, I nearly said count them, count it, 1 mile on the clock. Effectively, a brand new Yamaha RD400. That's all that's required to say. I'll say no more.
There we go, 1976 Yamaha RD400. Where are we going to go on this one? Someone start me off. Anyone interested at £6,000 to start today? Find another like this. £6,000 to kick it off today, surely. 6,000 to go. I'll go to 4,000 then. I won't go any lower on this bike. £4,000 to kick it off today. Seems reasonable to me. Nothing on my book on this one. £4,000 to start. Thanking you. We'll say 4-5 next if we can. At £4,000. We're in Derbyshire at the minute. At 4,000, 4,000. Thank you very much, Derbyshire bidder. 4,005 is against you now, though. At 4,005 and 5. At £5,000 is the bid. At 5,005. Thanking you at 5,005. At 5,005 and 6,000's bid now at 6,000. Find another bike like this one at 6,005. At 6,000, 6,005 and 7,000's bid. At £7,000, say 5 for one more. At 7,000, 7,000, thank you both of you bidders at the minute. At £7,000, 2 of you online. I'll tell you what, I'll take the quarters now. Would anyone like a 250? At 7,000's bid. At 7,000, 7,000, 7,000. At £7,000 is the bid now at 7,000. Are we finishing done at just £7,000? Surely not. At 7,000 is the bid. 250 for one more. Are we finished? Are we done? Last chance in fair warning this time and away then with the online bidder in Derbyshire. At 7,000 is bid. At 7,000, 7,000 the bid then once. At 7,000, 7,000 the bid then twice. All finished and done then. I will submit the bid then with you online at £7,000. That's provisionally with you online at £7,000. Might have some way to do, some room to go on that one. At £7,000, 7108. We'll still make the phone call because that's how we operate here at Manor Park. It's all about getting the vehicle to a new owner. Moving on down to lot number 81, 1975, the Moto Guzzi. It's the V1000 Convert. There we go. Nice little one. This is, where are we going to go on this? I'm straight in at just £3,000. At 3's the bid. Coming in for 3-2 next. At 3,000, 3,000, 3,000, say 200 for one more, 3-2 you do. At 3,002, 3-4's bid. At 3,004, back to me. At 3,004. At 3,000, 3,400 were bid, 3-6 is in online, and 3-8 back to me. At 3,008, say 4 if you're coming in now. At 3,008 is bid. At 3,000, 3,008 and 4's bid now and I'm out. You're in online at £4,000. Anyone else for 2? At 4,000's the bid now at 4. At 4,000, 4,000, 4,000. Would anyone like to go for 2? At 4,000's the bid now at 4. Are we finishing done at just £4,000? Anyone else like to come in and have a go on this one? Now's your chance if you do. At 4,000, are we finished? At 4,000, are we done? Last chance in fair warning this time and away then. I'm going to submit the bid with you online. At 4,000, once, twice, finishing done at £4,000. That's provisionally with you online. 1096 of £4,000. That is a provisional bid there. Thanking you very much there. Moving on to lot number 82, 2022 in the year is the Royal Enfield Interceptor 650 combination there. Love this combination there. Lovely little bike and sidecar. Where are we going to go on this? Start me off. Anyone interested at £2,000 to kick it off today? 2's bid. Thank you. At £2,000 we start. Say 2-2 if you're coming in. At 2,000's bid. At 2,000, 2,000, 2,000 on the on the Royal Enfield combination here. At £2,000. At 2,000's the bid. At just 2,000, 2,000, 2,000, coming into 2 you do. At 2,2, 2,4's bid. At 2,004. At 2,000, 2,400, say 2,6 for one more. 2,6 indeed. 2,8 and £3,000 is my bid. At 3,000 bid. Say 3,2 if you wish to go again. At £3,000, 3,2. You're in online now and I'm out. At 3,002, thanking you. At 3,200 is with the online bidder here. At 3,002, say 3-4 for one more. At 3,000, 3,002. At £3,200, the bid is here online, make no mistake. At £3,200 is the bid now at 3,004. At 3,434, welcome to you in Lancashire. At 3,004, Lancashire bidder. At 3,400 we're bid. At 3,000, 3,004, say 3-6 for one more. Would anyone else like to come and have a go? 3-6 you do, thank you underbidder. Cheshire bidder, you're back. At 3,006, say 3-8 if you're going to go again. At 3,000, 3,600 is the bid now at 3,006. Are we finished? Are we done? Online underbidder, would you like to go again? At 3,006, last chance in fair warning this time and away then with the online bid here. At 3,006 and 3,008. Lancashire bidder, you're back. At 3,008, thanking you. At 3,008, the bid is with you now. At 3,000, 3,800 were bid, and £4,000. At 4's the bid now 4. At 4,000, 4,000, 4,000. Would you like to go 2 again? At £4,000, off to Cheshire at the minute. At 4,000's bid. At 4,000, 4,000, 4,000. At 4,000, say 4-2 if you're coming back in. Are we finishing done online? At 4,000 bid. At 4,000, 4,000. 4-2's in now, thank you. At 4,002. At 4,000, 4,200 is the bid online. At 4,200, would you like to go 4-6 anywhere else? I will submit the bid today, make no mistake. At 4,002. At 4,000, 4,200, I'm going to count it down. It's with you online here. At 4,200, the bid then once. At 4,200, the bid then twice. All finished and done. With you online. At £4,200, then 4,002. That's your bid provisionally online at £4,200. That is a provisional bid with you, bidder number 20234, 20234. Moving on down we go, lot number 83 in today's sale. It's the 1980 BMW R87 combination there, bike and cart as well, bike and sidecar there. I'm going to go straight in. I've got a commission bid of £2,000. That's where I'll start. At 2,000 is the bid. At 2,000, 2,000, 2,000. With my commission interest here at £2,000. Say 2-2 if anyone else wishes to bid. At 2,000 is the bid. At 2,000, 2,000. At £2,000, say 2-2 if anyone's coming in. Lovely little bike and sidecar this is at just £2,000. Seems little money to me. At 2,000 is the bid. Are we finished? Are we done? Make no mistake. I will submit the... I'll tell you what. And we're selling at £2,000. How's that for a deal? Surely anyone else wants to come in and have a go on this. This is a bargain of the day. At £2,000, it's going to go. At 2,000, 2,000 with me on the book. Make no mistake. Last chance. Fair warning. Hammers up this time. And away I sell. At 2,002 you do online. You couldn't let a bargain go, could you? At 2,002. Thanking you very much. My commission interest, you'll be glad to know, is done and dusted. And you're in online. At 2,002. Say 2-4 if anyone else wishes to bid now. At 2,000, 2,002. At 2,200, hammers up once, hammers up twice. This time I sell at 2,200, all finished and done. Sold at 2,002. Thank you very much, online bidder, for sneaking in there. That one is yours, 5105. You've been a great bidder today as well. Thanking you very much, much appreciated. Moving on to lot number 84. 1998 is the Honda VT1100. Lovely looking bike. It's called the Shadow. There we go, the Japanese metric cruiser there. We're going to go straight in. At just £1,000 I start. At 1,000's bid. Say 1,200 if you want. At £1,000. Coming in for the 12. At 1,000 bid. At 1,000's the bid now at 1,000. At £1,000. Coming in for the 1,200. Surely there's a bid on this one. At just £1,000 with me on the book. Make no mistake online. Would you like to go again? Cheap little bike this is. Great looking cruiser. At just £1,000. Make no mistake. Last chance in fair warning then. At £1,000 once. At £1,000 twice. All finished and done. 1,200 coming in. New entrance there. And I'm out already. At £1,200 with you online. At 1,200 bid. At 1,200, 1,200. At £1,200 is the bid. I'll tell you what, I'll go 1,300 if it helps anyone else out. We will submit the bid today, so make no mistake. At £1,200 is bid. At 1,200, 1,200, I'm going to count it down. It's with you online in Cheshire. At 1,200 once. At 1,200 twice. All finished and done then at £1,200. Provisionally with you online at £1,200. That is a provisional bid though. Thank you very much. 5105 again. 5105. That one is provisional. We'll be in touch. Thanking you. Moving on down we go. Lot number 85. 2006 is the year. It's this lovely little BMW. It's the R1200 there. 1200S. The R1200S. Looks great in the red indeed. And I'm going to go straight in at just £1,000 again. 1,000 we start. At £1,000. Coming in for the 12. At 1,000 bid now 1,000. At 1,000, 1,000, 1,000. 1,200's bid. 14 back to me. 1,400 with me now at £1,400. Coming in for the 16 online. At 1,400's bid. My commission interest now at 1,400 is bid. Say 16 if you wish to go again. At 1,400, 1,400. Are we finished and done? Online coming back. 16 you do. 1,600. £1,800 is my bid. At £1,800 with me on the book. At 1,800, 1,800. Would you like to go £2,000? At £1,800 is the bid. 2 you back in. 2 you do. Thank you. I'm out now. You're in online at £2,000. Would anyone like to go 2-2? At £2,000. We're with the online bid at the minute. At 2,002 you do. Thanking you. At 2,002. We're in Welshpool at the minute. At 2,002. At 2,000, 2,002. Say 2-4 for one more. At 2,002. I'll tell you what, I'll take 2-3. There's lots of people hovering on this one. Would anyone like a small little bite? At 2,200, the bid is here online. At 2,002. At 2,000, 2,200, I'll take 2-3 if you want to go again. Are we finished? Are we done? Well, last chance in fair warning this time and away. At 2,200 is bid. At 2,000, 2,200, the bid then once. At 2,200 a bid then twice. 23, new bidder entirely at 2003. You've been on the wire today a couple of times there at 2003. Thanking you online. Underbidder, would you like to go 24? Welsh Paul, you coming back for one more at 2003. The bid is against you now at 2003. Are we finished? Are we done? Last chance in fair warning online. If you're coming back, it's now or never at 2,300. We'll count it down then once at 2,300 a bit, then twice. All finished and done then with you online at £2,300. That's provisionally with you online at £2,300. Nearly there, not too far off on that one. And who was that? And it is trusty bidder 5105. Thank you very much online again. Moving on to lot number 86. This time the year is 2006. It's the Honda ST1300, the Pan-European. I had a good look at this bike. It is absolutely massive. What a great bike it is. I've got a commission bid of just £700, so I might as well start it with that at £700 bid. At 700 is a bid. At £700 now, say 800. We'll run in hundreds on this one if you want, but make it nice and quick online. At £700, great touring bike this is. At 700, looks a bit different and unusual in the yellow and grey, but I think is a great colour combination. At £700 is bid. Would anyone like to go 800 you do. Thanking you online bidder. £800 is bid. At £800 with the online 900 is bid. We'll ask for £1,000 next. Would anyone like to come in for a small bike? At 900 is bid. At 900. At £900 is online. Would anyone like to go £1,000 here? At 900. Take £1,000 now. Last chance in fair warning. I'm going to count it down once. At 900 twice. All finished. All done then at £900 with the online bid here at 900. It's provisionally with you online at 900, and you are 811 at 900. That is a provisional bid there. Moving on down, we go to lot number 87's up next. Lot number 87, 1980 is the Honda CB900C, 10-speed dual range gearbox on this one as well. Nice looking bike. I don't know, who's got £800 to start? Seems reasonable to me. £800 to kick it off today. Won't go any lower on this. 1980 Honda, 800's bid. Thank you online. You're in. We'll say £1,000 next if you wish to go in. Who wants the £200 bid? At £800 is bid. Take £1,000 if you're coming in. Got to be fair to the bidder that kicked it off for me there. At £800 is bid. Would anyone like to go 1,000? At 800. I'll tell you what, I'll take 9 then. Make it nice and quick if you're coming in. Would you like a £100 bid? 9 up top. I see you, sir. Thank you very much. Gentleman's bid. Online, would you like to go 1,000? At £900 is the bid now at 9. At 900, are we finished and done? Lovely little Honda this is. What a bargain this might be. At £900, I'm going to count you down. If you're coming back in, now's your chance. Gentleman's bid on the mezzanine. Once, twice, finished and done then. Thousands bid. £1,000 sneaking in. Would you like 11, sir? Are you sure one more? Shakes the head. £1,000 is with you currently online. Anyone else like to have a go on this one? At thousands a bid. At 1,000 a bid then once. At 1,000 a bit, then twice. All finishing done with you online at £1,000. I'll take 1,100. Yeah, go on then. Say he wants the 50, so we've got that on there, haven't we? 1050. Okay, thank you very much, sir. I thought you said 250. I was like, that's more than what I was asking for, but okay. 1050 your bid. Thank you very much. Gentleman's bid. Online, we've got to be fair to you. Would you like to come back in for 1,100? At 1050 with the gentleman on the mezzanine. Once, twice, finished and done. Make no mistake online. At 1,050. Once, twice, finished and done. It's your bid provisionally, sir, at 1050. Thank you. Do you have a paddle to hand? Thank you very much. 79. 1050 provisional. Moving on to lot number 88, this time 1971, the Moto Guzzi, and it's the Falcone. There we go, look at this one. I love the colour on this. It's like a nice teal blue colour, looks great indeed. I'm going to go straight in. 1,000, 11, 12, 13, 14 and £1,500 were bid. Say 1,600 next. At 1,500's bid. At 1,500. Would anyone like to come in on this one here? On the Moto Guzzi here. At 1,600 you do. Thanking you online. At 1,600, 1,700. 1,700's bid. At 1,700, I'm going to have to go 18 with me. 1,800. Take 19 if you wish to come back in. At £1,800 is the bid. At 1,800, are we finishing done here? At £1,800, take 19 if anyone wishes to have a go on this one. At £1,800, I'm going to count it down. At 1,800, the bid then once. At 1,800, the bid then twice. All finished and done then at £1,800, the last chance in fair. What 19 sneaking in at £1,900. My commission interest is out now though, you'll be glad to know. At £1,900, I'll take £2,000 if anyone else wishes to have a go on this one. At £1,900. At £1,900 is the bid now at 19. Are we finishing done? Last chance in fair warning then with the online bidder here and away. At £1,900 once. At £1,900 twice. All finished and done then at £1,900. That's provisionally with you online at £1,900. 6956 takes that one. It was provisional bid at £1,900. Moving on down we go to lot number 89 in today's sale. 1990s, the year is the Yamaha, and it's the XV535, the Virago. There we go, look at this one, lovely looking bike this is. Anyone got £800 to start me off? Seems reasonable to me. Kick it off today, have a bargain buy, £800 to come in to kick it off, surely. Surely. Come on online, thanking you. Chucking pens all over the place a minute. There we go, £800 is your bid online. Take 9 if anyone else wishes to come in. I've got nothing on my book on this one. Online bids in at £800. This could be a cheap little buy. At £800, I'll take 9 if anyone else wishes to bid. At £800, coming in for the 9. You're thinking about it now online. Are we finished? Are we done? Last chance in fair warning. We'll submit the bid today. Make no mistake, at just £800 once. 9's bid. At £900. Chest your bid over your back. At £900 is bid. Would you like to see 1,000 anywhere else? At £900, £900, £900. At £900 are we finished. At £900 are we done. Last chance in fair warning this time and away then. We'll submit the bid with you online. I'm going to count you down once, twice. Finished and done then with you online at £900, sorry. At £900 your bid. There we go, £900. That is a provisional bid with you online at £900, 5105, provisionally with you. Lot number 90's up next, 1990 BMW. It's the R100GS. And what can you tell us about this, Steve?
We were late to the adventure bike party over here in these British Isles. I started travelling to Europe as a motorcycle journalist in the late 80s, and they were everywhere. The Italians, the Spanish, the French, even the Germans got on board before we did. I was an early adopter over here with a couple of Cajiva elephants, but before them came this. Not quite the original, but almost. The BMW R100GS. The Paris-Dakar, an iconic airhead, as they call it, with the classic horizontally opposed boxer twin engine and shaft drive to the rear wheels. We didn't really get it. We were all running around on sports bikes, and we thought, what is it with bikes like this? Well, of course, in the years since then, we've all realised just how usable they are, how great they are at covering distances. But would an adventure bike ever be a classic bike? Well, the answer, of course, is yes, and here it is. 36 years young. It's got about 30,000 miles on it. The speedo packed up a while ago, but we've got plenty of paperwork with it. This is where they came from. This is one of the originals. There won't be many of them because people didn't think they'd ever become classic. So grab this rare, original adventure bike while you can.
There we go. People have been bidding away online as you've been talking there, Steve. We've jumped straight in with you in Essex at £8,000. I had 5,000, 5.5 and 6. You've gone 6.5, 7, 7.5 and £8,000. Thank you very much online. You're in. Essex bidder there at £8,000. I'll say 8.5 next if we can. At £8,000 is bid. At 8,000, 8,000 bid. At £8,000 is the bid now at 8. Would anyone else like to come in and have a go on this one? I'll tell you what, we'll go 250s then. Would you like a call to buy anywhere else? Thank you for jumping in Essex. You're in the hot seat at the minute. At £8,000. At 8,000, 8,000. At £8,000 is the bid. At 8,000, 8,000, 8,000. Are we finishing done then? Online bidder at the minute at £8,000. 8,250 new bidder. £8,250 is bid. At 8,250, 8,250. It's a lovely BMW this is. The Paris-Dakar bike. At 8,250 is your bid online. Would you like to go 8.5 anywhere else? At 8,250 is the bid. At 8,250, 8,250. Are we finishing done? Are you coming back in? At £8,250. It's your last chance in fair warning. If you'd like to go again, it needs to be 8.5. At 8,250 is bid. At 8,250, 8,250, I'm going to count you down online. Make no mistake here, the bid is with you. Online bidder at 8,250, the bid then once. At £8,250, the bid then twice. All sure, all done. At 8,005, thanking you, sir. At 8,005. At 8,005, new bidder entirely. At 8,005 is bid. At 85, 85, 85. Would you like the call to bite again? At 8,005. At 8,000, 8,005. Coming back in for the 750 if you wish to go again online. Are you finished? Are you done? Make no mistake here. We'll submit the bid today. At 8,005. At 8,000, 8,500. The bid then once, twice. Finished and done then. Gentleman's bid at £8,500. All finished and done. That's your bid. Thank you very much, sir. 175 takes that one provisionally at £8,500. Thanking you. Moving on to lot number 91, the Rally Chopper 3, the Mark 3. Look at this one, the Rally push bike here. There we go, the first of the push bikes in today's sale. I don't know, who's got £100 to start me off for a nice little Rally chopper there? Mark 3 Rally chopper. It's got to be worth £100, hasn't it? Surely. What about £50 to go? 50 at the back. Thank you, sir. At £50 bid. Well, run in the 50s. Anyone got 100? At 50 bid. At £50 a bid now, 50. At £50 a bid. Take 100 now. At £50, we're in the back corner. Make no mistake. At £50 is bid. Say 100 if you want to come back in. I'll tell you what, I'll take 75. 75, I see you. At 75 bid. At 75, the bid's against you now. Would you like £100, gentlemen? At 75 bid. At 75, 75. Are we finishing done at £75? Would you like another one? 100, thank you. 100's bid. Take 25 again if you wish to come back in. It's against you up top. Yes, okay, he says. 125. 125's bid. Would you like to go 50 now? Mark 3 Rally Chopper, make no mistake here. It's against you lads in the corner. It's £125. You coming back in for one more? Are we finished and done? At 125's bid. At 125, 125. Are you done? Are you dusted? It's up top. Would you like one more? Bids against you. Once, twice. Up top then. At £125, all finished and done. Provisionally with you. I'll take that 125. I'll put it on 175. Thank you. And that was 125. Provisional. Moving down we go, lot number 92. It's the Jorvik tricycle, not one that I've seen before. Nice little tricycle there, nice little freewheeler. Keeps you nice and stable then when you're riding around. Start me off on this one. No reserve whatsoever. Anyone got £50 for a tricycle? Thank you, sir. 50's bid. At £50, I'll say 75 next. We'll run in the 25s for you online. At £50 bid. At £50, 50. Coming back in for 75. Gentleman's bid at the back. 75 if you want one more. Coming in. Last chance in fair warning. I will sell it. That is no reserve. It must go today, so make no mistake. So it's £50 at the back. Just need to undo it one, I think. Gentleman is in. 75 if anyone else wants to come in. We're at the back at 50. Make no mistake. It's going to go today. Once, twice. Finished and done. Hammers up. And I sell 75. They wouldn't let it go that cheap. Cheshire bidders, 75. £100. Thank you, sir. At 100's a bid. At 100 bid now. It's not even £50 a wheel. At £100. Last chance in fair warning with a gentleman at the back. Once, twice. Finish 125. 125's bid. At £125. Would you like one more? Yes, he says. 150. Thank you. At 150 bid. At 150, 150. Online, make it nice and quick. Would you like to go again? At £150 is the bid now once, twice. Finished and done. Hammers up then. We're selling at £150. It goes this time 150. Sold 150. I think it's the other way round. Is it 998? Yeah, thank you very much. 998. Cheers. 998. 150. Moving down the list we go. Lot number 93 this time is the 1982 Suzuki. It's the GSX. No, it's not GSX. It's just the GS650G this time. Another no reserve project bike then, ladies and gentlemen. Start me off on this one. Who's got £250 to start? 250 to start. Cheap little bike this. 250 to go. Surely. Bid online, I think. 250 is that? 250's with you. I'll take 275 next. We'll run in the £25. 275, gentleman's bid. At 275, no reserve, must go today. So come on, bid up, bid them in now. Three's bid. £300 online. Take 25 again. We'll stay in the quarters. 325. 325's bid. Not you online. Just press that floor priority. There's gentleman's bid at 325. Coming back in for 350 online. 350's bid. Would you like 75? At 350's here. 375. Gentleman's back in. At 375. Take it to 4 now online. 400 a bid. At 400, 400 with the online bid 425 now. At 425, 425. Would you like to go again? 450's bid. At £450. Lowest increment we'll take today's 25 on these. At 450, 475. 475's bid online. At 475, 475. Would you like to go 500? 5's bid. Thank you. At £500. Gentleman's bid now at 5. Say 25 if you're coming back in online. Make it now or never. At £500. No reserve. Hammers up. We're selling. At 500's the bid. Once. At 500's the bid. Then twice. Seated bidder. At £500 it goes. Whoa, 525. It was so close to touching the block then, sir. One more. You've come this far. At £525 is bid. Are you sure? At 525 online. I'll take 550 if you want to come back in. Hammers up though. At £525, I'm gonna sell with the online bid once. Yes? 550 back in. 550, thank you. At £550 is bid. Last chance in fair warning online. Coming back in now or never. Once, twice. Hammers up and it sells at £550. Sold at 550. 669, thank you. 669, sold at 550. Moving on we go, lot number 94, years 2000, and it's this Suzuki GSXR750, a Bandit, no reserve again. Anyone got £250 to start me off on the Bandit? We'll run in the quarters again, kick it off for £250, 250's bid, thank you, we'll take 75, 275 at the back, at 275, 275, at 275's bid, gentleman's bid at the back, 275. At 275, say 3 if you're coming back in online. 3 you do. £300, 325 straight away. It's Ireland versus the room. 325 in the room. At 325, 325. Ireland bidder, would you like to go 350 now? At 325, the bid is against you. At 325, 325. Hammers up then, make no mistake, is here to be solved. 350's bid. 375 straight away. Thank you for your fast bidding. I appreciate it. 375 at the back of the room. At 375, 375. At 375, 375. Are we finishing done, Ireland? Would you like to go 4? Hammers back up now. At £375, I'm going to sell today. Once, twice, finishing done. Selling to the gentleman at the back. Throw 4's bid. Ireland sneaking back in. At 400 bid. We'll stay in the 25s for you if you wish to go again. At 4's the bid. Shakes the head. It's with you in Ireland. Thanking you. At 400 bid once. At 400 bid twice. I'm going to sell this time and away it goes. Off to Ireland at £400. Sold it 400. Thank you very much to the bidder in Ireland there. You are bidder number 20780. £400. Moving on to lot number 95, 1978. It's the Kawasaki, the Z650 again. Where are we going to go on this one? 250 seems to be the money to start here. Who's got £250 to start? 250 to get it gone. How about £50 then? 50 to go. Come on, ladies and gentlemen, clear it up. Get it gone today. £50 surely. I think mine is, yeah, we go. £50 to kick it off. Surely £50. Anyone interested at 50? Kick it off today. Won't go any lower. £50. 25 then, go on. Come on, clear it up. Anyone interested at £25? Nice little project to get it gone. I can't go any lower. It's the lowest increment I got on the system today. So £25. Okay, right, we'll move on. Well, just 2 seconds. Right, we move on down to lot number 96. Lot number 96. 1984, it's the Fantic TX250, no reserve, nicely restored, twin shock trials bike, another nicely one there. Who's got £50 to start me off? We're running 50s on this one. Who's got £50? 50's bid online, thank you. At 50, go 100. At 50's bid. 50, 100's a bid. Thanking you online. At 100 bid. At 100, 100. 100, 150. 150, 200. At 200 pounds. At 200's bid, say 50 for one more. At 200, 200 bid. At 250's the bid. At 250, 250 and 300 pounds. At 300's the bid. At 300 now, would you like to go 50 again? At 300 pound is the bid now at 3. Coming back in, I'll tell you what, we'll go 25. 325 if you're nice and quick online. 325, thank you very much, sir. At 325 on the mezzanine. At 325. Coming back in for the 50 anywhere else. 350 do. At 350, 375. At 375, 4. At 400, thanking you online. 425 now. At 425, 425. Coming back in for the 450, 450, 475. At 475, 475. At 475 and 5. At 500, 525. At 525 and 550 bid. At 550 to bid now. 550 is your bid here. At 550 bid. At 550, 550, 550. At 550 pounds, we are bid. At 550, would you like to go 75 now? If not, we're selling. Make no mistake online. At 550 to bid then once. At 550 to bid then twice. All finished, all done this time, and away it goes. With you online at £550 and selling. Sold it, 550, thank you. And that was to bidder number 20246, 20246. Moving on 2 seconds. Let me just keep that one there for the sheets with me a minute. To lot number 97. Lot number 97 this time then. We're going to go Honda NC50 on this one. It's the Express, no reserve again. Start me off, who's got the £50 to go? 50 to go. 50's bid online. Thanking you online bidders at £50. Make it nice and quick. No reservers here. Bid up and bid them in online. Coming in for 50. I'll take 75 now. At 50's bid online. At 50, 50 bid. Coming in for the 75. Take the 25s now. At £50 is bid. At 50 to bid now 50. At 50, 75 up top. I hear you. Thank you. 75 your bid. At 75, 75. At £75 is the bid. Take 100 now. Are we finishing done? Goes once, it goes twice. Last chance in fair warning at 700's bid sneaking in Ireland. Would you like 25, sir? Shakes the head. At 100's bid. Once with you online, twice. All finishing done at £100. Oh, 25. 125 sneaking in. 125. Say 50 for one more. Make it nice and quick online. We shouldn't have time to think. Last chance in fair warning then, £125, online once, twice, finished, done, 150's bid. At 150, 150, 150. At 150's the bid. 25 is the minimum increment I got. So I'll take 175. Are you sure? Once online, twice online. This time I sell 150, 175. Someone else thinks it's worth it. 175. At 175, underbidder, would you like to go 2? At £175 is going to sell. Don't miss out here. 175 once, twice. Finishing done. Hammers up and away it goes at £175. Sold it. 175. And that was to bidder number 17075. 17075. Let's write that out again because that's terrible. Right, moving on to lot number 98. Lot number 98. Lot number 98 here is the 1979 V50. Then we go. Moto Guzzi, where are we at? Start me off, who's got £100? Go in, do the 100 there. Oh, just press undo. No, and press undo again. And I just press that now. There you go. And we're going. The Moto Guzzi, the V50 there. We're in straight away with you online. You're in. £100 is bid. We'll go in 50s on this one if we will. 152, 200's a bid. 3, 300's a bid. Go 50 again. At £300 now. At 300's a bid. Take 50 if you're thinking about it. At 300's a bid. At £300, are we finishing done? I'll take 50. If anyone else wants to come in now, at £300, the bid is with you online. At 300, 300, take 50 for one more. 350, I see you. 350's bid. At 350, 350, take 4 if they're coming back in. At 350 in the room. At 350, 4's back in. Thank you. At £400 is bid. At 400, 400, 400, would you like to go 50 for one more? Last chance in fair warning. I'm going to sell this time then, and away it goes. Once, twice, finished and done. At £400. Sold it, £400, and you are bidder number 9305. Moving on to, just before I move on, let's get some of these gone. Lot number 14, Yamaha, sold away. Lot number 73, the Bandit, sold away. Lot number 79, the Bonneville, sold away. Lot number 87, the Honda, sold away as well. Moving on to lot number 99. Lot number 99 is the 1979, is the Honda CB400N. There we go, look at this one. Where are we going to go on this one? Start me off, who's got £50 for it? £50 to go. Anyone interested here at 50? How about 25 then? 25 to kick it off. Surely. Dave? Well, I've got a little bit of a plan here, ladies and gentlemen. If you buy this one, I'm going to chuck in lot number 95 as well. So you're not bidding on one bike, you're bidding on two bikes. No reserve, £25 to go. 95's included as well. Get yourself some frames. Surely this will help clear them up. Let's get them gone today. Coming in, £25 to get them moving. We'll bulk them up. Mark my word for it. We'll get them cleared up. I can't do any lower. I can't go any lower than £25. But what I can do is I can chuck in lot number 95 as well, which was the Kawasaki Z650. Surely, I can't try any harder than this. Let's get them moving. Once, twice, finished and done. And I'll go, no, okay. If you're interested in those two bikes, please do get in touch with us. I'm going to hand over to Mr. Steve Berry for lot number 100.
Tom, I want to take you back to 1979 when I was at that awkward age, too old for the swings and roundabouts of the kids' playground, but too young to get served in pubs and clubs. So on a lovely hot summer's day like today, you did what young men did back then. You all go and hang around outside the spa with your mates, and then all of a sudden, an older lad, maybe 17 or 18, rocks up on one of these with, hold your breath, a girl on the back. L-plates discarded for that special occasion. He refuses to get you 10 Benny Edges or a 4-pack of Colt 45, but you still think he's cool, especially when he comes out and with that little bit of extra weight on the back, manages to pull an impressive wheelie as he roars away in a cloud of two-stroke smoke. That could be you. That could be you. Now, it's a 250, so it's an import. It's been fully gone through and restored. I hope I painted a picture there that's going to persuade you to part with a bit of money on this 1979 Yamaha. It's got a British plate on it, but it was recently imported, DT250. Yes, we had the 175, but it doesn't alter the nostalgic pull of that story, does it? So come on, recreate those days. Get the missus on the back. Go down to the spa, get 10 Benny Edges, and then off for a fumble behind the bingo club, if those things still exist.
I'll tell you what else has been smoking out. The bidding online has gone 500, 550, 600, 650, 700, 750, 800. I've got 850 and I've got 900 with me at £900. Not you on 950, okay. I've got 1,000 with me. I've got a commission bid here just to make sure my bids come in. £1,000. 1,050, 1,100's my bid though, 1,100, 1,150, 1,200, 1,250, it's running off, 1,300, 1,300, 1,350, 1,400's my bid here at £1,400, just click it onto, at £1,400 bid, 1,450, is that back in, 1,450, 1,500 to me, at 1,500 bid, at 1,500, 1,500. In Gwenede at 1,500, I got 1,550 and I got 1,600. 1,600 with me. At 1,600, 1,600, would you like the 50 again? At £1,600 is bid. Make no mistake, commission bid on the book. It's going to sell today. At 1,600, 1,650. 17's my bid though. At 1,700, back to my commission bidder here. At 1,700, 1,700. 1,750. 1,800 back to me. Say 50 for one more. It might do it online. At £1,800, 1,850. My commission interest is out. You're in. 1,850. I think you've got 19 there as well now. 1,900 you do. At 1900, 1900 in Gwynedd at the minute. At £1,900 underbidder, would you like to go 50 again? At 1900, 1900 coming back in 1950, thanking you. West Yorkshire bidder now at 1950. Take it to 2 if you wish to go again. At 1950 and £2,000. Welcome to you in Ireland. Biddings all over the United Kingdom and Ireland at the minute. At 2050's bid. At 2050, would you like to go 2-1? 2-1 you do. At 2001, 2150 back in. West Yorkshire bidder now at £2,150 is bid. Coming in for 2-2 if you wish to go again. Now's your chance. If not, hammers up. Make no mistake. At £2,150 and 2-2. Thanking you, Ireland. At 2-2, 2-250. At 2,250 is the bid. At 2,250, would you like to go 2-3? It's your last chance in fair warning. If you do, hammers up this time in a way. Make no mistake, we're going to sell once, twice. 2-3 bid. Ireland bidder, you're back. At 2,003. At 2,350, thanking you now. At 2,350 is the bid. At 2,350, 2,350, 2,350. Are we finished? Are we done? Last chance, fair warning. I'm going to sell this time then. Hammers up once, twice. Finished and done, and this time it goes at 2,304, 24. Grimsby bidder, where did you come from? At 2,400 you're in. At 2,004, would you like to go 50 again? At 2,004. At 2,450, thanking you. Ireland, you're back. At 2,450, 25 Lincolnshire bidder. At 2,005, with you in Grimsby then. At 2,005, coming in for the 50 for one more. At 2,005, hammers up. At 2,005, once, twice, finishing done. This time I'm selling, make no mistake, it goes at 2,005, 50, 2,550 and 2,006. At 2,650's bid. Thanking you there. Fast bidding now. It's gone off again. At 2,650 is bid. On the Yamaha DT250 here. At 2,650 the bid then once, twice. Hammers up. We're selling. Make no mistake. With the online bidder this time and away to West Yorkshire it goes and 2,700 now. At 2,007 it goes on. At 2,750 thanking you. At 2,750's bid. At 2,750 2,800. At £2,800 is the bid now at 2,008. Are we finishing done? 2,850's in. And 9. At 2,009, 2,929. At 2,950 it's gone on in 3,000 now. We'll stay in the 50s. We got all day, make no mistake. At 3,000 a bid and 50 now. At 3,050's bid. At 3,001. At 3,131 all online. At 3,100 is the bid. At 3,150 thanking you. At 3,150 and 3,2. At 3,002 would you like to go again? At 3,000, 3,200 hammers up. At 3,2's the bid. Once, twice. Finished and done. I'm gonna sell. Make no mistake. 3,250's bid. At 3,250 thanking you. At 3,250 West Yorkshire you are back. At 3,250 hammers up now. At 3,250 is bid then once, twice and selling. Make no mistake, if we're finished and done it's gonna go at £3,250. Sold it £3,250. Thanking you very much there. 10469, 10469. 2 to go, ladies and gentlemen. 2 to go. Lot number 101. Moto Guzzi here. There we go. It's the V50 no reserve project again. Who's got £100 to start? Surely. Go. 100 bid. Thanking you. £100 bid. 100's bid. 150 if you're coming in. At £100 is bid. At 100, 100, 150, thank you very much. 150, 2's bid is that. 200 you're in, yes you are, 2's the bid. 250 now, just watch what happens here a minute. 250, 250, we'll leave it. Take 275 next if we can, that will sort the problem out. At 250 bid, take the 25. At 250, 250, do you want 75 anywhere else? Currently in Wigan, 275, 275's bid, 275 Warwickshire, 300 Wigan's back now. At 300's bid, Warwickshire, one more might do it if you will. At 300 the bid, take 25 again. At 300, 300, are we finished, are we done? Last chance online at £300, the hammer's up, I'm gonna sell, make no mistake. Warwickshire bidder, would you like to go again? It's now or never, once, twice, finishing done, I'm selling at £300. Sold it 300, thank you very much there. Moving on to, 9305, the paddle 9305, sold away £300. Last ride home, or last project. There we go. It's the 1985, the Moto Guzzi 1000 SP, no reserve project there. I'm going to go straight in, 100, 200, 300's the bid, £300. With me here at £300 on the book. At 3's bid. At At 300, you're in on 350, I see. At 350's bid. Online bidder has it now at 350. Go 4 for one more. At £350 is the bid. Would you like to see 4? At 350, 350. Are we finishing done at just £350? Surely not. 4's bid, £400. 450, take the 75 again. At 450's bid, take the 25 now. All right. Do that and then just press that absentee priority. There we go. Sorted, and he's in now. At 550. Sorry there, just had an absentee bid. I was making sure it's in, but you're in online now at 550. The absentee is gone. Liverpool bidder at 550's bid. At 550, 550 and 6. Thank you there. At £600. We'll sell to the nearest £50 on this one. Would you like to go 50 again? At 600 is bid. At 600, 600. Are we finishing done? 650, we're not. Liverpool, you are back. At 650, 650. 700's next if you're coming back in, but the hammer's in hand. At 7's the bid. At 700, 700. Would you like to go 50 again? At 750's bid. At 750, 750. At £750 is the bid. Last chance in fair warning. Are we finishing done? Hammer's up this time and away then. At 750, is that 8? 800, you're back in now online. Thanking you. Gesture bidder, you've been a good bidder as well today. There we go, at 800 you're in. 50 again. Are we finishing done? At just £800. I'll tell you what, it's the last lot of the day. 825, make it nice and quick. At £850 is bid. At £800, go 25 if you're coming in, sorry. At £800, I'm going to sell, make no mistake, 825. Hammer staying up and bid in if you wish to bid. At 825, once, twice, finishing done, 850's bid. 850, 850, would you like to go 75 now? Hammer still up once, hammer still up twice. It's going to go this time and away. At 875's the bid. 875 in 9, thanking you there. Online bidders at 900 is with you at the minute. Say 25 for one more. At 900, 900, once, twice, finishing done. I'm going to sell this time, and away it goes at £900 if we're all sure and done. Sold it at £900. Thank you very much. And that's 5105. Thanking you very much there. Lot number all done, dusted. They're all finished and done. Ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow we go again with the cars. If you've been around having a good look at the viewing today, there's some excellent, excellent cars going under the hammer tomorrow. We start again at 11 o'clock. Also, don't forget, we've got some lovely cars and bikes. A nice little mixture down in Southampton next weekend. And of course, we have our timed online sales, and I believe there's a 1972 MGB Roadster with over £21,000 worth of expenditure on that, and also a limited edition Kendo Mazda MX-5. Check it out online now. Thank you very much for your bidding today. I look forward to seeing you all again tomorrow, and I'll see you again. Thank you.